in the sky, gazing far into the night. I raise my hand to the fire, but it's no use, 'cause you can't stop it from shining through. It's true, baby, let the light shine through. If you believe it's true, baby, won't you let the light shine through for you. In the sky, gazing far into the night. I raise my hand to the fire, but it's no use, 'cause you can't stop it from shining through. It's true, baby, let the light shine through. If you believe it's true, baby, won't you let the light shine through for you.
Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to the stream. Thank you guys for tuning in. Glad to have all you guys in here. Appreciate it. That water bottle's giant. Yeah, I always have this with me every week. Well, I mean, I get a new one by the time the week is up. Yeah, I did sleep. That's why the stream's half an hour late. I took a nap right before I took a nap like 2 hours ago, and then I woke up and I was like, oh, I gotta stream, but I'm too tired. But yeah, so it took me a little longer to get started than what I initially planned, but we're here. No, it wasn't my sleep schedule. Actually, it kind of was, but kind of wasn't. I woke up at a good time, but I woke up a little early. I usually wake up around 6 in the morning, but today I woke up at 4 in the morning. So I was getting tired around like 5, 6 o'clock. So I was like, okay, I don't want to go to bed earlier than I did yesterday, and I'm streaming today, so let me just take a little nap so that way I can stay up a little later into the night. And then if I get tired after the stream, then that's fine, because then I can go to bed. But yeah, how's everybody doing? Thank you guys for tuning in to another week of RWBY for the discussions. Obviously, we're winding down on Saturday. This weekend is the penultimate chapter 12, and next Saturday is the finale of the volume. So I'm obviously a little bittersweet about it. Oh, hey, James Star.
To hear your thoughts on this episode. I like it when murder gets critical. I have some small issues, but I still thought it was one of the best episodes the show has put out, probably their best this season, depending on how it's followed up.
Yeah, I agree. I obviously posted on Twitter earlier today that I have that I have some opinions on it.
To see you.
Hey, what's up, Louie?
I'd like to see you at RDX, however all my community friends won't be able to make it this year, making it too expensive for me because I can split the cost of the room. Any ideas for a backup?
I mean, that's kind of... You have a few months to kind of figure it out, but I mean, it really just depends, who you know, who's also a Rooster Teeth fan who's going. So that's a little iffy. I understand, I always try to go with somebody every year just to, cut the costs because it makes it cheaper to go. But even having one person go with you, that cuts, your cost at least for, the hotel in half, but... it really just depends on if you know someone who's going.
I cannot wait for them to boot Cordo out of Argus.
Oh, come on.
It's the shoes on the other foot now, isn't it?
Alright. The puns are already starting. But thank you guys again for joining. I definitely appreciate it. Obviously, we're going to dedicate the first few minutes to people joining and catching everybody up. Megan, Tylika? Or Tilka, I think that's how you say that. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate it very much. But yeah, the volume is ending in the next 2 weeks, and then obviously Genlock is gonna start. But putting RWBY to bed is gonna be great because this volume has been fantastic. I think this volume is, especially if how the last 2 episodes ends, particularly the finale of how it's gonna set up and leave us off for volume 7 later, by the end of the year. I think Volume 6 is most definitely Rooster Teeth's greatest work when it comes to RWBY. Obviously next to Volume 4 and Volume 3 and 4 and stuff like that. Let's see. Team Coffee, where you at? Yeah, I know, right? Volume 7, Star Lee, just saying that just sounds crazy to just say Volume 7 because now that's what we have to get used to saying after this volume. But yeah, what are your thoughts on Genlock? I am so fucking stoked for Genlock. My real question is, how are you guys feeling about Genlock? Because I've already seen the first episode, and I absolutely love it. I haven't seen any of the character shorts or the trailers, so what I'm gonna do on Monday is I'm gonna compile all of the videos. I'm gonna compile the first look. I think there's 3 character trailers, and then they just released the launch trailer today. I'm gonna watch all of those back to back to back.
Yo, how's it going? I have some opinions about this chapter too.
Hey, what's up, Josh?
Very negative ones at that. I'll save them for later. Also, I am finally going to RTX this year, however I'm going alone.
Oh, okay.
Any tips on finding new friends to go? Because I'm awful at that.
If you're trying to find people to hang out with, just find me and you'll be good. I'm a part of a group of 30 people who are also going. I'm only going with one other person, but I have a group of friends who has a group of friends who has a group of friends, and we all just hang out. And then I have people from my Discord server who are going to be going. So if you find us, you can easily make a bunch of friends and just have people. You'll always have someone to be able to hang out with. And we're all very open and welcoming. This chapter was great. So yeah, I obviously posted, I obviously tweeted earlier. Okay, so really quick, let me just put this out there right out the gate. Do try to hold off on donations or anything, because I don't want to kind of get cut off every so often. I do appreciate the support, obviously, but I kind of want to just get through what I'm about to say. So I obviously made a somewhat vague tweet about the episode. I was I thought this episode was great. Obviously, you guys are going to see the excitement of my reaction to me first watching it for the first time. But I was watching this episode, and I was watching it over the week, and the more I watched it, the more I was just it wasn't that I was getting annoyed with certain things that were happening. It was more so things weren't clicking for me. I would see something happen, and in my head I'd be why is it happening like that? Instead of it you know, I guess I'm not seeing it the way that Rooster Teeth intends for the viewer to see it. So for the first thing, if anyone in the chat or anyone watching this video after the fact is expecting me to kind of like go after like the whole shipping thing, you're not going to find it here. I have really no complaints to say about Bumblebee, about Blake and Yang's interactions, or about the whole thing, like the whole shipping aspect. I like, and that's the thing, coming from me, I've always said this since for as long as I can remember, or for as long as you guys can probably remember too, but I like the shipping thing is the last thing I care about. I really, really don't care who ends up with who. As long as it's not forced down my throat, as long as it's not like to the point where I'm just like, oh, they're just doing that just because, you know, the fans want it or whatever. It doesn't come off that way to me, number one. And number two, I have no problems with two girls or two guys or a guy and a girl being together in the show. Like, I absolutely have no problems with that. That's the world we live in. So it's not, you know, we see that with like Saffron, and we know like Illy is gay, and we know, you know, Pilot Boy was gay. So it's like, there's really like, I really don't have an issue with any of that. The issue for me with that really stems from the fans' reactions, because it's more so the fans that make a problem of it for the show itself. Like, the show is trying to portray it, the show's trying to deliver that character dynamic, but then you have people who are overly excited or overly obsessive about it, and then you have people who are like overly negative about it. So I really think it just comes to the fans' reactions that boils it more than it needs to be. So yeah, for me, I didn't mind that at all. I actually kind of liked it at the end, that Blake and Yang now have that support system to deal with Adam together, because I was expecting Blake to not be able to deal with Adam by herself, and Yang not to be able to deal with Adam by herself, but together they'll be able to deal with him. So yeah, I really had no issues, no complaints in that regard. So yeah, that I just wanted to dispel that, because there were people on Twitter that were like, oh man, I wonder if he's gonna like go off
really
on
hurt
it.
My heart. First, Gamble's shroud gets broken.
Oh yeah, we're gonna talk about that.
To save Blake.
Yeah.
Also, if Adam is blind in one eye, then all his feats are made even more impressive.
Yeah, he has no depth perception, yet he's such a sick fighter. It's so cool. So he like that was an initial theory too. Like, a lot of people. Also, how's the audio? How's my audio, by the way? Someone in the chat said my audio's a little off, so I'm not entirely sure. I'm not entirely sure if that's right or not. It's good? It's good? Okay. Yeah, but that was one of the initial theories of Adam, like, where people were speculating initially that, like, oh, he has silver eyes, and there were a lot of people that were like, oh, he's blind. Like, it'd be like a theory that he's blind. So he's half blind. So it's half cool. Or it's half cooler. But yeah. It's iffy. Hold on. Let me lower it a little bit. Audio's good? Okay. Well, the silver eyes would have been nice if it wasn't up until the point where, like, we already got the exposition from Maria to Ruby. So I was just like, it's a little audio-y. I don't know what that means. How long has this been going on? I've been streaming for 10 minutes. And yeah, I didn't notice the SDC on his face, by the way, the first time I watched it. It was only the second time that I watched it that it became very apparent, like, holy shit. And then that's when the theory started forming. But the first time I watched it, I just saw the scar. I didn't see like the letters in it or anything like that. So yeah, like, my initial reaction, it's very, I was just shocked. I was just so happy that we got to see what his face looks like. But then you see that glaring scar, and then it makes sense of like, oh shit, like, that's what humans did to him. That's pretty fucked up. So, and that actually gave a lot of depth to Adam, especially when you realize from the time we've seen him to now, he's always had that on his face. He's always been burdened by that because of his past. Hey, what's up, Eclipse Slice? Hey man, opinions on that fight scene. Personally thought it was one of the best fights of the season. Also, what are your thoughts on the SDC brand? Can't wait to hear your reaction. Can't wait to see your reaction of this chapter. I agree. I mentioned it on Twitter the day of, but I think that was one of the best fight scenes in the series, not just in the volume. I think it's the best fight of the volume for sure. But it definitely holds up as one of the best fights in the series. like Blake versus Adam and then Blake versus Yang. I kind of liked the Blake versus Adam a little bit more.
Here's your Kraken Grim for episode 12.
Oh yeah, a Kraken Grim. Hell yeah, dude. What was that? What was that promotional poster called? Like something of the deep, like Beast of the Deep or Demon of the Deep. It was like one of the promotional like posters that was on the the theater building. So it was like, yeah, Demon of the Deep. Okay, that's what it was. So I really do think it's a Kraken Grim, and you have like this giant mech that defends against Grim from the sea. So I do think they're setting up for like this giant Kraken Grim to show up and deal some damage. Terror of the Deep. Okay, it's something of the deep. It's not Deacon of the Deep though, because that's a Dark Souls boss. But yeah, Luca Blight, thank you so much for the $45 donation. I appreciate that. Very generous of you. Glad to see you again for another discussion. But yeah, I think that this episode was one of the best episodes, one of the most intense and exciting ones that we've had in a really, really, really long time. I really liked the first half. I've seen a lot of people complain that the first half is what's it called? A lot of people have mentioned that like the first half is it's not memorable. It's just there. And the second half is obviously what people gravitate more towards because it has to do with Adam and it has to do with Blake and Yang and their whole dynamic and whatnot. So yeah. Let's see. Give me 1 second here. So I'm guessing next volume we're gonna have Blake fight against the horrible ways of the Shini Dust Company for treating their faunus, of how they treat their faunus workers. Maybe we'll meet people who knew Adam before he turned. Oh man, I'm excited. So I don't know if I want to talk about, yeah, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna talk about it in order because there are certain things that I don't want to be jumping back and forth with my thoughts here, because there are a couple of things that I do want to express that are a little bit more opinionated.
I really think Ironwood will tell Cordo that she messed up. I can't help but think that Grim will appear because people are getting nervous from watching an Atlas mecha fighting in the open.
Honestly, I don't think Cordo's in the wrong. Team RWBY's in the wrong. Team RWBY is the one that's attacking the military base because they need to get to Atlas. If Cordovan doesn't want them getting there, that's their problem because she's in control there. What if it was Ironwood? What if Ironwood showed up there and he was like, "No, you guys can't go through. I'm not letting anyone through." It really is Team RWBY who's in the wrong. You know, like, and that's the thing too, like, because then they're attacking this mech, and the mech is specifically made to protect the city from Grim, and all of this negativity and all of this like high strung anxiety from like the citizens to the fight and everything. That's what's gonna cause a bigger issue. Like the people who really think that Cordo's in the wrong, it's easy to see her in the wrong, right? Because, you know, RWBY and Team Juniper and all of them, they're the protagonists. They're the main characters of this story and of this series. And it's easy to kind of see anyone who doesn't want to do things their way as the villain. But no, Cordovan, like, yeah, she might be a little overly patriotic and somewhat of a, like, she might have like a skewed, like, her morals might be a little skewed, especially with how she views faunus, but she's doing her job. She's literally doing her job. It's no different if Team RWBY was replaced with Cinder, Emerald, Mercury, and Watts. It's no different. The only difference is they're the bad guys. But in this case, Team RWBY are the bad guys. So yeah, I don't think Cordovan's doing anything wrong. It's just like the aftermath of all of this happening is going to screw over a lot of people, especially if Team RWBY just makes off with an airship and doesn't stick around for any of the aftermath. So yeah, yeah, it sucks, but yeah, Cordovan's definitely not in the wrong. She's a little high-strung right now, and I think that's going to be her downfall. But yeah.
Team RWBY may be in the wrong, but Cordo is overreacting. If the finale ends with Argus going the way of Beacon, then it will have been both their faults. Team RWBY for breaking the law and Cordo for overdoing it.
Overdoing it? I mean, she's not really overdoing anything. She's telling them no, and they're imposing on the military force. You're breaking into a military base, like the military base of the strongest military power on the planet. Yeah, she's gonna make an example out of you. I don't think she's over. I mean, if you want to say that's overreacting, maybe, right? Maybe it's overreacting, like you're pulling out the big guns right out the gate, but how she decides to deal with it is her own, like, regardless of the fact they shouldn't be doing that. Or at least they should have had a better plan. But like Jean said, it's like, there's no going back at this point. Like, once they do this, there's no going back. And, like, I think this is going to make things worse for Atlas, because they already have an itchy trigger finger. They're eventually going to probably realize, like, oh, Beacon's trying to declare war on us because they're attacking our base. Now we're going to go to war, and now you're going to have this additional conflict on top of the Salem conflict, on top of the Faunus conflict, on top of, you know, this grandiose conflict with the relics and Ozpin and everything else in between. It's just going to be a real big shit show. Oh no, remember when I said I leave for military training before Kingdom Hearts 3 came out? I just realized that I won't be able to see the Volume 6 finale. No! Oh my god, I feel so bad. Give me your information, I'll text you all of the information. That sucks. That's so unfortunate. I appreciate the $18 donation, but still, that's very, that's so sad. Like, that's like a double whammy right there. F's in the chat. Oh, that's unfortunate. Again, good luck with your basic military training. Hopefully you make out well with that.
It's like the United States sending a battalion of tanks to capture a small group of thieves.
I guess. Like I said, she's definitely exacerbating the situation, but she is not at all in the wrong. The manner in which she's going about it, yeah, she's flexing. She's definitely flexing more than anything, but I don't think she's in the wrong at all for doing her job of defending Atlas's borders. Yeah. Hey, Arnold, don't forget to activate slow mode. Yeah, I wasn't officially starting the discussion. I was just responding to certain donations. But yeah, I'm definitely going to be enabling slow chat right now so we can kind of get underway here. Believe it or not, but I didn't screen cap a lot of stuff this episode, obviously because it was mostly action this week. So I have a lot of video clips that I think I'm going to use to represent. I'm also going to take my headset off because my ears, I don't know why, but the back of my ears just really hurt when I wear my headphones, at least for today. I had like a little bit of a headache this morning, and I think like the sides of my glasses are like being squished into my head because of my headphones. So I'll have them really loud so I can at least hear Justin, the Justin bot, whenever whenever something goes off. And I obviously have the text on screen and on the sides here so I can kind of read them and respond accordingly. But yeah, hold on. I'm also gonna lower it a little bit in the actual OBS. So if I'm talking over it, it's not overpowering me. But yeah, let's see. Thank you for doing that. Wait, thank you for doing what? for taking my headset off? Yeah, my ears are killing me right now. At least the back of my ears are killing me because my glasses are being like squished into the side of my head. But yeah, okay, so slow chat, slow chat, oh, maybe you thanked me for slow chat. Yeah, you probably thanked me for slow chat. Okay, now I get it. Okay, so, overall, great chapter. I think this was the best chapter of the volume for sure. One of the more standout chapters, I would say. Obviously, a lot of things are coming to, like a lot of things are basically coming, like, are going, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm trying to find an expression for it. But, like, everything's being cranked up to, like, 10 and 11 now. You have Cordovan fighting off Team RWBY, and they're trying to get to Atlas. You have Adam, who is stalked Blake all the way to Anima, like, all the way to the edges of Anima. And there's obviously that conflict between Blake, Yang, and Adam being a source of their strife, of their, of their development over the last couple of volumes since the fall of Beacon, and even further back with Blake leaving the White Fang. So I think there's a lot of expectations to be had with these chapters. There's a lot of tension to be had with what's going on and our interpretations and reactions as fans, and just seeing how everything's going to unfold these last two chapters. Chapter 12 is in a couple of days, and that is going to be the penultimate chapter. That is going to set up for what we get for the finale next week. Chapter 13, this volume has 13 chapters, not 14. The volume's already longer than than any previous volume, so technically the runtime's already longer, so it doesn't really, it's quality over quantity, right? They're giving us one less chapter this week, like of the week, but in terms of runtime, it's already longer, so I think that's fine. But yeah, like, and then the finale is on the 26th, the same day that Genlock comes out for everybody, so if you're not a first member, you can still watch the first episode of Genlock on the 26th. I've already seen the first chapter. I really like it. Like I mentioned a little while ago, I haven't seen anything on Genlock, so they did the stealth stream during the holidays, and they promoted it and teased, like, hey, we're doing a Genlock showing, and I was thrown into the first episode, and I was very meh about Genlock, and then I watched the first episode, and I'm like, I am 120% on board. I absolutely loved the first chapter, so this week I'm going to like do a big reaction video of all of their trailers and all of their character teasers, and I know they just came out with a launch trailer today, so that's another thing that I'm going to do.
Mistakes are a great way for Team
RWBY to grow. Also, Cordovan for Genlock. Yeah, I know, right? Like, they're just showing off they're flexing the mechs right now because Genlock's on the way. Are you going to do reviews for Genlock? Yes, I'm going to switch to reviews for Genlock because there's too many other things that I want to focus on for post RWBY. So, like, I'm not going to do these live stream discussions for Genlock necessarily. Number one, the episodes are going to be 20 to 30 minutes long. The first episode is 31 minutes long, and I can't imagine screen capping an episode that long, let alone, like, doing a live discussion. Like, my discussions for RWBY go for, like, 2, 3, 4, 5 hours long. I can only imagine what a half an hour episode would be like. So I'm going to do these bullet point rapid fire reviews of the Genlock episodes, but you'll get reactions on a weekly basis. I'm also going to be shifting to a little bit of gaming because Kingdom Hearts 3 also comes out that week. So yeah, it's going to be Genlock reactions, Genlock reviews, and Kingdom Hearts over the next couple of weeks. And then after Genlock ends, then I'm going to get back on the ball with Red versus Blue and things of that nature. But yeah. So with all that out of the way, like I said, this chapter was great. I know a lot of people have been saying that the first half was very forgettable, that it felt more like filler bits to kind of get to the Blake and Adam stuff. But I couldn't I mean, everyone's, you know, everyone has their own opinion. Everyone's, you know, has the right to their own opinion. But to me, this felt like a combination effort of like this, what this reminded me of was like a higher scale version of Team RWBY versus Torchwick in the mech in Volume 2. Because they're actually fighting a giant, like, colossal, like, Pacific Rim style mech. So that was the first thing that it reminded me of. And then it also reminded me of, like, the camaraderie and the teamwork of, like, Team RWBY and Team Juniper of Volume 1, Chapter 8 against, like, the Nevermore and the Deathstalker, because you had everyone on the same page, you had everyone being a part of the fight, and it felt like the two aspects of those two teamwork-oriented fights coming together. You know, you had RWBY and Weiss doing their thing, you had Crow in the action, you had, Maria and Oscar providing air support, Ren and Nora and Team Juniper was doing their thing on the ground. So I thought it was a great spectacle. The music! Can we talk about the music really quick? Yo, Jeff and Casey came out of nowhere with another track. I loved it. I cannot wait for this soundtrack. This soundtrack is so good based on like the little snippets that we've heard. I guess the song is like a represent, I don't know, it's called Big Metal Shoe. So obviously it's like a reference to the mech and Cordovan because she's the reference to the lady in the shoe and all that stuff. I heard the lyrics, mirror, mirror, and I was like, is this another Weiss song? Like, are you kidding me? Because then they were playing that when like RWBY and Weiss were like jumping on the ice in the water, and I was like, are you kidding me? Like, it sounded so good, and it showed up at the perfect time when RWBY just came out of her speed form and just like did like that slow motion shot with Crow like flying off it. It was just so cool. It was so cool to just see that. And then like the slow motion effects of like the missiles and all that stuff. It was just really great to see. Yeah, check you out in your big metal shoe. Oh my god, so much children don't know what to do. Oh my god, I can't wait. Can't freaking wait. And like I already like I think the song that I'm most excited to hit, cuz right, we have Lionized, we have Miracle, we have Rising, we have what else do we have? What else do we have? Obviously we have this new song. We have, I think there's one more song that I'm forgetting. No, I mentioned Lionized. Forever Fall. Yeah, Forever Fall, the one with Pyrrha in the last episode. Neo's theme. I forgot the name of Neo's theme, but there's that song. Fucking hell, dude. There's 6 songs already. And then we're obviously going to get one more for the credits. At least one more. They usually put 1 to 2 more songs. They usually put 1 to 2 songs in the credits. But for Volume 5 and 6, they put, like, the full songs. Like, Volume 5's was This Time, and then Volume 4 was Armed and Ready, and Volume 3 was half of Cold and the entirety of Divide. So we're at least getting one more song for the credits of the finale. So 1 to 2 more. Oh, One Thing. Okay, yeah, that's what it's called. There you go. I haven't listened to that song all too much, because I want to just hear it. I don't want to digest or dissect the songs until like the whole thing is out, because I also do the soundtrack reactions. But I really like this soundtrack. I think Miracle is the song I'm looking forward to the most. That's definitely the song I've listened to the most. That was the song that was playing on the second half of the first episode. And like the piano introduction to that is just like, I freaking like that. That's so cool. And then Jeff like opens up the lyric with lyrics. That's the song I'm looking forward to the most. Just the instrumental opening, and I don't know, just the way it just sounds really great. And then there's also a little bit of foreshadowing and mentions of like a miracle and light that seeks out darkness. So it's obviously a reference to like Maria and the Silver Eyes and stuff like that. Like Maria is their miracle, like for helping Ruby discover her silver-eyed potential. So yeah, Miracle is definitely the song I'm looking forward to the most. And yeah, this soundtrack's gonna be great. This soundtrack's gonna be awesome. But yeah. So anyways, so this is the thing. Like this mech fight, I understand it. From the perspective, I kind of see this mech fight as the lesser of two evils, because like I said, you have Cordovan going up against all of these students, and her job by the general of Atlas, by the headmaster of Atlas, is nobody comes in, nobody leaves. Only Atlas personnel or Atlas officials are able to come and go as they please. So realistically, Team RWBY is doing the lesser of two evils, because they know the truth. They know about Salem, they know about the relics, they know about, this impending doom that will happen if Salem gets all the relics, and they know that they're being hunted down by like Cinder and Tyrion and Watts and Hazel for the relics. So they need to get this to them as soon as possible. So in their head, they're justified, because it's like the alternative is just everyone dies. The alternative is that Salem wins, and they can't let that happen. So from their perspective, it's like, yeah, we're going to do this because we're justified, because we know what other people don't. But Atlas's perspective, like, Cordovan isn't the bad guy here. She's doing what she feels. She's not even doing what she feels is right. She is doing what's right. It's just it's conflicted with a greater purpose of like Ozpin's plan to stop Salem and everything, and it gets lost because Cordovan doesn't know any of that. And I think Maria definitely exacerbates the problem. She makes it a lot worse, because she pushes Cordovan's buttons, and they're both bitter old women, and I think that's why she's also willing to go this extra mile, right? She's not even sending out fighter jets. She's sending out her biggest gun to kind of shut these students up and kind of maintain order. But she's also flexing. She's also like, everyone will learn how great and mighty and majestic we are, and we're better than everybody else. And, she obviously doesn't have a great outlook on... She's definitely not humble, that's for sure. So yeah, like, that's, like, the first thing that I feel is a little bit lost. Like, some people think, like, oh, yeah, Cordovan's, like, in the wrong. I hope people take care of her. It's like, no, like, she's the reason why Argus isn't destroyed by now. and you can't blame her for maintaining order and following directions just because the heroes aren't, just because the heroes aren't getting their way. Such wit, such tenacity. Yeah, basically. And it's kind of getting her in trouble now, because like, it's one thing to maintain order, but at the same time, you don't need to go to these lengths. At least you shouldn't have to go to these lengths to shut up a bunch of rookie huntsmen and huntresses, with the exception of Crow, obviously. But yeah, and the reason why I think we're gonna get like a Grimm encounter as well is because Jean mentions. So we've been getting a little bit of context clues since we got to Argus. So the first thing is I think it's called Terror of the Deep or Demon of the Deep. If you go back and watch the episode where they first arrive in Argus, you'll see like a bunch of promotional posters on the Argus theater. Like there was one like the Fall of Beacon. There was another one that was hidden, which was a Genlock poster that was like a little cameo. There was a Genlock poster, and then there was another one that was like Terror of the Deep or Demon of the Deep. I don't remember which one it is, but it showed like a Kraken Grimm, and it was like of the deep, and they're obviously off the coast of the continent where there's the water. And then Jean mentions like that giant mech is to keep Grimm to keep larger Grimm from the water out of the way.
Also, why couldn't the gang
Let's
just
see,
break into the station and call Ironwood?
do you know why the gang has to go to Atlas? Like the real reason? Also, wouldn't the gang just break into the station and call Ironwood? But giant mech fights work. Well, yeah, they need to get the Atlas. They need to get the relic to the most secure place in the world, which is Atlas. And Ironwood knows about the relics. He knows about the maidens. He knows about Ozpin's inner circle. I mean, he knows what he thinks he knows. I don't know if he knows about like what the relics do, but he at least knows about Salem. He at least knows about the plan to like keep these relics safe and stuff like that. So yeah, that's what they're trying. At least that's my interpretation. It's very understandable that they're like, hey, we need to get this relic to a more secure location, and what better way than the strongest military force on the planet. So yeah, like I think that's the obvious reason of why they're trying to get there. And the longer that they keep this relic out in the open, the better chance it is for Salem's forces to try to snatch it, which is why Watts and Tyrion are trying to make their way here as soon as possible. And we still don't know if they're going to show up and deal with them too. So yeah, I think that's the big thing. And they can't really call Ironwood because there's no telecommunication, so they can't like call him up on the relay tower is also on the fritz. So there's really no way to get in touch with him besides like mailing like a letter to him, that's what Crow initially did. I don't know if it's going to get to him before they do or not, but that's the reason why he sent that letter at the beginning of the volume. He's on the other continent, probably losing his goddamn mind on top of that. Like, ever since the Fall of Beacon, and since, like, the Dust Embargo, and since the Border Patrol, and like, the closing off of the kingdom, like, I can only imagine what this guy looks like, what this guy's mindset is, how he's feeling right now, like, his composure and everything. I literally just feel like he's losing himself. And, he might not be in the greatest mindset right now. So for the most part, it's probably a lot worse than for his situation, at least from like dealing with all of the stuff, dealing with all the scrutiny, dealing with all of the pressure of all of these decisions, and essentially trapping all the people, all of his citizens on the kingdom, for the sake of like, we don't know if people are going to declare war or whatever. But anyways, Jean makes the mention of like this giant mech. Its sole purpose is to fight and combat giant Grimm that come in from the water. So I think they're setting up for a giant Kraken of sorts, because you got the city that's in peril. They can feel the earthquakes and they can feel like the shockwaves and the aftershock of the fight with the mech. And then you have like Team RWBY and everyone just fighting. You have like Maria and Oscar like flying out of like the airship's like about to crash and whatever. So there's a lot of tension. There's a lot of like negativity going on. You have the whole thing with Blake, Adam, and Yang. That's its own separate entity, which is also near the water, like near a waterfall and nearby the water. So like I feel like they're setting up for another aquatic Grimm to show up and dish out some damage and to kind of cause a little stir. Wouldn't Atlas's CCT tower be connected to Solitas's CCT? Well, the CCT network goes down if one of the towers goes down, and the one in Beacon went down, so none of them work. The only thing that works in terms of communication are local relay towers, so they can make like point-to-point connections between relay towers that are relatively near each other, which is why RWBY got a signal when she made it when they got a lot closer to Argus. So yeah, they can't make kingdom to kingdom connections, but they can make like settlement to settlement connections over a local relay tower if it's in the area. So yeah, this was super cool. Apparently Weiss can now earthbend. Obviously this is like an amalgamation of dust. I don't know what dust she combined to make earth. I want to say like, I mean, you would think like magma and water, but yeah, low-key she's the Avatar. Low-key she's an earthbender. I thought that was kind of cool. When I first saw it, I thought she froze the ice. I thought she like froze that shot because it's, you know, I assume was water or ice dust or whatever. But like, yeah, like she just summoned a giant like earth structure or rock formation to save everybody's ass, which again, I thought that was pretty cool. It just goes to show, again, Weiss has the most versatile weapon and semblance combination in the show. And obviously that was mainly dust. That was mainly like a compliment of like all the dust that she's able to utilize. Gravity dust brings the, gravity dust brings the earth up. I guess I'll give it to that. I'll give it to that that's what happened. You know, I don't need this to be a super serious scientific show, because, you know, they got magic and shit, like, where stuff just is unexplained. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there's, like, obviously there's, like, there's earth, there's fire, there's, you know, earth, wind, and fire, and gravity dust. Cordovan mentions hard light dust, which is pretty interesting. I guess that's more experimental. And I wonder if they have, I wonder if they are able to synthesize dust too. Like, obviously they do. You can combine them artificially and naturally. So I think, obviously, hard light dust is more of an artificial scientific creation, which is similar to, I guess that is the genetic makeup of what's her name? Velvet's, semblances. Because Velvet's semblance is just that. Like, it's hard light copies of other people's weapons. So her weapon, it kind of, I guess her weapon, she takes a picture of a weapon and it converts to like a hard light dust copy, essentially. And it's a one-use thing. But yeah, Wendell Hall, welcome. Thank you for joining the stream. Hey, what's up, Autumn? Autumn Jacques. Appreciate you joining. Nice seeing you in the chat again. Earth dust is also a thing. Yeah. Blake used it in volume 2. Yeah, that's true. It's just so hard because I haven't seen it in a really long time. So, like, the fact that she just raised it out of the ground, I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, she's an earthbender! But yeah, it's been such a long time, so I'm always kind of, because I know that they have, like, obviously the 4 basic elements is, like, water, fire, what is it, like earth and wind, or earth and lightning? Because they never really explain what the 4 basic components are. They just showed 4 different colored dust crystals in that world of Remnant, and they were just like, oh, you can also combine them, so you can make some that aren't basic. But yeah. Yeah, Velvet mixes her semblances with hard light dust, which I assume, I'm not going to say that that's what she does, but based on the fact that we're now getting hard light dust and she has light copies, it just makes sense at this point. Yeah, Weiss also gave her those cartridges to use. Yep, that makes a lot of sense. Yep. Fire, water, earth, air. Yeah, basically she's the Avatar. So yeah, obviously, you know, Team RWBY, yeah, at least like RWBY and Weiss, they were very active in this episode for sure. Like, Weiss summoned for the first time this volume, which I think is a result of a lot of people mentioning that, like, she was just spamming her summons nonchalantly for every little thing that she needed last volume, right? She used her summon to break out of her house. She used her summon to break out of to break out of like the bandit camp. She used her summon multiple times, or she attempted to use her summon multiple times to fight Vernal, which was like the worst thing she could have done. She used her summon again towards the end of the fight, like when she actually summoned the Queen Lancer. So she was definitely overusing it for sure. Every little instance she was using it. And I guess she kind of overemphasized, like I get, like, Winter told her, like, the more you use it, the stronger it'll become. But it's like, it's not practical to use your summon, like, your trump card in every situation. So that's what happens when Winter puts emphasis on summoning. Yeah, exactly. So I'm glad that she kind of toned it back a bit this volume, and she, like, was just focusing more on her own fighting style, especially in the first episode when you see her fighting against the Manticore, and then the Sphinx. I appreciated the fact that it's like, okay, Weiss realizes, or at least the writers realize, that Weiss has a variety of utilizations from her glyphs to just her normal fighting style, to where she doesn't need to be spamming this ability every 2 seconds just because it's like the best thing she has in her arsenal. So, like I said, it was great to kind of see it was great to see the summon again, because we went almost an entire volume without seeing it. And at this point, I was expecting her to use it. I was like, hey, Cordovan's trying to shoot down that airship. You need to summon and get out of there. So it was great to see it again. And it was the Queen Lancer, which makes me wonder, now that she can summon the Queen Lancer on her own, I guess Jean gave her aura back in the episode. Like, he amplified her aura, but she had no aura at that point because she got attacked by Vernal, and then she got stabbed by Cinder. So I don't know if he necessarily amplified her aura to allow her to summon the Queen Lancer, or if he just basically gave her reserves back to be able to summon it on her own. So I'm now wondering what Jean would be able to do if he amplified her aura and then she summoned the Queen Lancer. Because before it was, she summoned the Queen Lancer because Jean's amplified, amplification. But I think he just gave her that in order to be able to do it right then and there, because she didn't have any aura herself. So yeah, that was a little iffy, but now that we see that she's able to summon it on her own, unaffected by the Jean semblance, it makes a lot more sense. Hey dude, sorry I'm late. Oh my god, this episode. Team RWBY, Bumblebee for the win. Kicked Adam to the curb. Rip Yang's bike. Oh dear. Yeah, that second half was really great. We're obviously going to get into it, but this was so freaking cool, man. Like, the slow motion, like that part too, like she's just swirling. Like, I like the slow motion. Like, we've never really seen anything like that in terms of like the cinematography of how it all works. And then like the music kicks in, and it's just awesomeness right here. They're obviously doing their thing. Gavin approved. Yeah, slow-mo guys. Rules of nature. Yeah, this was super cool. I really liked this sequence here. Like, the music kicks in, and it's just all hype. It's all fun. It reminds me of the past, especially, like I said, like, teamwork and camaraderie. The two fights that I remember vividly in my mind that remind me of this fight was Volume 1, Chapter 8, when it was Team RWBY and Team Juniper against the Nevermore and the Deathstalker, and then Volume 2, Chapter 4 with Team RWBY against Torchwick and the Mech. This feels like a combination effort of those two team-oriented fights, but then you have everyone who's a lot older, a lot more experienced, everyone's on the same page. You have Weiss using her summons, you have Jean and everyone, like, providing cover from the ground, you have Oscar and Maria providing cover from the air. And I just liked how everyone was on the same page. It felt like a unified effort. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, yeah, like, not a lot of people, but there's obviously people who vocalize that, they feel like this part was forgettable, but I really, really liked it. Plot-wise, obviously, they're building up to something. They really are, and I really do feel like it has to do with, I feel like Cordovan's hubris is going to get her killed. I don't know if it's going to be by Team RWBY's hand or if it's going to be by the Grimm's hand, because this giant mech that's used to defend the city looks like it's going to be destroyed pretty soon. Like, the shield generators are shutting down, and it's just losing all of its power. And I'm pretty sure they're going to find a way to deal with it by next week, or this upcoming episode. So just the fact that I feel like all this fighting, it's like, yeah, we're getting all this cool shit out of the way because it's going to be dealt with in the next couple of episodes. And then the aftermath is going to strike. Like, the Grimm's going to come through, and I don't know how that's going to how that's going to affect everything. Yeah, and then it'll be Goodbye City, and I don't know. I don't know. And it seems like these are the only, like, capable, like, fighters in the area. I mean, yeah, you got Cordovan's other airships that can help. Like, there are other fighter ships that can help out, but, like, the last thing I need to during that is for, like, Cinder and Neo and Torchwick. I'm not Torchwick, Jesus. Tyrion and Watts to show up. Rest in peace, Torchwick, by the way. I can't believe I just brought up his name. Like, he's been dead for almost 3 volumes now. My God. But yeah, I can't see anything good coming of this. Like, yeah, they're the heroes. They're the good guys. They're winning. Like, they're going to get to Atlas, but at what cost? You know what I mean? At what cost? So I'm just waiting to see. I'm just looking forward to seeing how things are going to happen, how things are going to pan out by the end of it. But again, like I said, this scene was so cool. Jeff Williams lyrics just coming through, and a brand new song that we get to look forward to. I like the chorus as well, like mirror, mirror. I know there's an incomplete version of this song with official lyrics. Flint of RWBY posted it, I think, earlier this week, actually. So there's some early lyrics. Oh God, I wish I had gone there and went to the channel to check out one of the lyrics. One of the lyrics freaked me the hell out. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna improvise right now. I'm gonna go to the hold on. Flint of RWBY. I need to grab a quick screen cap just so I can emphasize one of the lines that was mentioned. All right, let me turn this off. Let me maximize you. Let me pull out my snipping tool real quick. Oh my, mirror, mirror, who will lose it all? Okay, fuck, oh my god, okay. All right, I got the screen cap, okay. I'm gonna add this image right now so I can talk about it, because this is pretty big. It's pretty big. And you guys are gonna lose me on screen for a little bit when this image pops up. If I can get this image on my screen, that'd be great. Okay, right here, this image right here. 'Cause I'm alive like a puppet with a heartbeat. That's Penny. That's a fucking Penny line right there. That's a Penny reference if I've ever seen one. I'm wondering if Penny's coming back, or if they're simply referencing Penny because, you know, she's a product of Atlas. But I really think Penny, something has to happen with her. A puppet with a heartbeat? Like, that's literally Pinocchio with a heart. That's Penny's reference. She has to come back. We're going to Atlas. You know, they're mentioning the big metal shoe. They're mentioning the puppet with a heartbeat. That's basically all of Atlas's, like, military strength. Like, all of their technological, weaponized advancements. So, I really do think, I'm not going to just straight up be like, oh, that's a reference, like, Penny's coming back. But it's at least a reference to Penny. That's what I'll leave it at. I don't want to dig any deeper than that, because I don't know. I have no idea. But they referenced, that's a reference to Penny for sure. Whether that goes anywhere, like, in the future, it needs to. There's so much shit they need to talk about when they get to Atlas. Atlas is the kingdom, and it's very clear that they learned from this volume, right? Because with how bare bones and how scarce and how lacking Mistral was, how little we saw of it, we know nothing of its culture, nothing of its citizens, nothing of anything of Mistral. And while I do appreciate that they tried to fill in those gaps with, like, the slums, for example, showing us a bit of Mistral before we moved on to like, from Cinder's perspective, I think with how much they've improved on fleshing out Argus, a very one-off city that has a lot of significance right now because it's, you know, it's the bridge to Atlas. I really hope they take everything they learned from this volume, everything that they learned with fleshing out Argus, because I think Argus is like the best, it's actually a living, breathing, thriving environment. I hope they take everything that they learned from Argus and apply it 10 times over with Atlas, because there's so much that we need to learn about that place. And I've obviously, like, we have the school, we have the Schnee Dust Company, we have the Schnee family, right? Like, we need to see Whitley again. What's he up to? We need to see the mother. We need to know what Watts is up to. I'm sorry, we need to know what Jacques is up to. There's Mantle involved. There's Watts' affiliations. There's Penny's father. There's so much stuff that they need to kind of get through with that kingdom, and I want them to stay there for like 2 volumes. Like, I'm not even bullshitting you. Like, I'd want them to stay there for as long as possible. Team Funky, that's why Team Funky's there too. Yeah, like Ironwood, they need to like touch base with him. There's so much there. The Maiden, if there's a Maiden on each different continent, then there should be a Maiden in Solitas. There's so much. I really think they need to stay there for at least 2 volumes to get through all of these plot points that are taking place there. And obviously some things will overlap, right? Like the school and the Schnee Dust Company, I feel like they're very buddy-buddy. They work close together. That's fine. Penny, are they working on a new Penny prototype? Is Penny's are we going to see Penny's dad? Because he worked with the Schnee Dust Company on making her along with Ironwood. So that's a dynamic, that's a trifecta right there. That's the Schnee Dust Company. That's Penny's dad, and it's Ironwood all together. They need to stay there at least 2 volumes. Because right now I can see a trend happening where Volume 3 was the end of the Beacon arc, which Volume 1 through 3 I'll give a little pass to, because the schedule and how they came out with those episodes was a lot different. I'm also gonna take this image off right here before like my screen, like my computer like freezes. But so I'll give volumes 1 through 3 a pass. But okay, let's just say Volume 3 was the story bits or the kingdom bits of Vale. And then Volume 4 was the transition volume. And then Volume 5 was Mistral. And then Volume 6 is the transition volume. And then Volume 7 is Atlas. And then Volume 8 is the transition volume. And then Volume 9 is you know what I mean? Like, and then Volume 9 is Vacuo. And then Volume 10 is the transition volume. And then Volume 11, we're back at Beacon because we have to find out where the relic is. And then Volume 12 is where they fight Salem. And then the series is over. You know what I mean? Like, I really don't want it to be that predictable where it's like Kingdom transition. It would just get, I don't know. It wouldn't feel right to do that, especially when there's so much on the table for those places that we need to explore. But hey, I have no idea what they're planning on doing. The downside of having short seasons. But I really hope that's not the formula. Because that's the trend I'm seeing right now. That's a trend I'm seeing right now. That's why I was wondering if they're even going to make it to Atlas this volume. I would have been surprised if they didn't. I would have been like, yeah, actually, I'd be pretty fine with that, because based on what I've been observing, it seems like that's the trend that they're going for. But Atlas, I think, needs. And then you have like and then you have, oh my fucking god, then you have Adam's brand, which is again Schnee Dust Company, and that's like a Faunus thing. You know what I mean? Like, if he makes it out alive, if Blake and Yang don't kill him, which I can't see them killing anybody in this show, even in self-defense. If Adam does make it out alive,
to be fair,
like,
was introduced in the middle
the Schnee Dust Company is such a big part of Adam's history. To be fair, remember that Mistral was introduced in the middle of the split RWBY storyline. So they had to world build lots of stuff at once. I mean, I understand that, but at the same time, they kind of gave us a lot to look forward to with the world of remnants of those kingdoms. So, I mean, I'll cut them some slack with that too, because, I mean, I'm not going to really, it's just unfortunate because I was looking forward to a new kingdom, and we know more Vale and Beacon than we know of Mistral, which is sad to say. And obviously, Argus is more fleshed out than any settlement location in the show. So that goes to show you as well, like the kingdoms need to be the kingdoms are the beacons of salvation. The kingdoms are where people are safe and where like the 4 pillars of humanity. So those are the places that need to be the most fleshed out. But yeah, anyways, I'm rambling right now. Long story short, they need to spend time in Atlas. Anyways, this was another cool thing too. What the hell is she shooting in this, out of this right here? It looks like, I was gonna say dark matter for a second. Obviously it's some like, it's some type of dust, clearly. Is that, I mean, is that earth? It doesn't look like the same earth dust, dude. It looks more like obsidian. Yeah, there you go. I mean, it's earth dust, but it's like black. So I thought it was like a different type of material. Magnetic iron dust. Oh, that'd be cool if it was like a different composite of earth. Like, yeah, it's obviously earth, but it's a little bit more specific. Magic rocks. Iron sand. Yo, are we Naruto now? The freaking third Misukage? Or Sasori? But yeah, hard light dust. That was super cool. That's obviously a synthetic dust used for, obviously, you know, defenses like shield generators and stuff like that. Also, a part of it is utilized with Velvet's weapon, which makes me wonder if she's from Atlas, or if not, where did she get her weapon from? Since it utilizes the same technology. I mean, never mind. They're the father of that technology, but they're not like the owners of that technology. So I take that back. But yeah, it's super cool that she has such a sophisticated weapon that utilizes the same type of dust. Because like she was the first person that we've ever seen use that type of ability, and now we're seeing it used in a defensive manner. So yeah, it's kind of cool to just see like this mech has a bunch of different things up its sleeve. Like it has like an ice ability, it has an earth ability, it has missiles, it has generators. I'm waiting just for like the I'm a fire in my laser, like a laser beam attack as like its final attack. But yeah, like this is it needs this much stuff to fight Grimm, like giant fucking Grimm, and you're destroying this town, the city's one line of defense, major line of defense against Grimm that are eventually going to swarm this place, I think. It's ion cannon. Vibranium. Oh dear. But yeah, so like I can't help but just notice that. Also, this was such a cool shot too of Crow like in his bird form. It's funny too because a lot of people were saying, why couldn't Crow just go to the relay tower? He could just turn into a bird, fly to the relay tower, disable one of the comms, and be good with it. But I think like the risk of his RNG, like his bad luck RNG, was too much of a risk to send him on that. And obviously it would be really weird if actually I'd wonder, that'd be a cool fight matchup. If they did that with Crow and Crow fought Adam instead, it would be like out of nowhere. Like, what is Adam? Like, Adam has no business fighting Crow. You know, his squabble is with Blake. So obviously for story purposes, they focused on going with Blake, but it also makes sense with why they wouldn't bring Crow because of his bad luck. And so I really liked this scene, like just seeing Crow in action. This bottom shot was really funny too because like obviously the whole time everyone's doing their own thing, and then like these two are just like, okay, let's take this thing out. They just freaking shoot the shit out of it. Let's see. Okay, the third Kazekage is Iron Sand. Okay, I obviously got my Kages mixed up. I haven't watched Naruto in like a decade, so cut me some slack there, pal. Because Blake versus Adam, that's why. Well, I mean, it's even if it wasn't for that, I kind of explained why I think it would still make sense if it wasn't Crow, and it's because of his bad luck. And he was also just not feeling up for any of that. Like, he was just like, pouting, you know, against the tree, so he wasn't exactly willing to play ball with everybody else. So, you know, it makes sense still. Oh yeah, RWBY. You know, in video games, they usually have like the generators on, like the weakness on the back. It's like, RWBY, what video games? The only video game that I ever remember that being factual, video games at least that I played, was the scarabs in Halo 3. Like you have to go like on top of them and like huddle like under behind them to get to like the generator on their backs to just automatically blow them up. Shadow of the Colossus, no, they're not always on, it's not always on the enemy's back. It's always on like the enemy's head or their hands or their chest or their backs, but it's always on a different location. But yeah, I'm like really, RWBY? Titanfall, yeah, Titanfall, yep, Titanfall is another thing too, like the main power source is like right above, right below the neck, right below the back of the neck. So she's not exactly wrong, but I'm like damn, RWBY, you would go to video games as a and then Weiss mentioned, she's like, RWBY, this isn't a game, and the first thing I thought of was Persona 5. It's not a game. I'm not a robot. And it makes so much sense, too. I'm not a robot AI challenging you. So that's what it reminded me of. I was like, oh my god, that's such a P5 moment right there. Obviously, if people played Persona, they'll get the reference. But, I think I'm gonna make a shitpost of that moment. It's like, RWBY, this isn't a game. It's not a game. Oh my god, that's gonna be golden. Yo, I'm writing that shit down. I am writing that down. That is happening. Let's go. Alright. Hold on a second. It's not a game. P5 hype, by the way. Whew! That's gonna be good. So yeah. You've never played... Oh my gosh. Persona 5 is like one of my favorite games of all time. Absolutely love it. Joining the crack crew. I mean, I've been doing RWBY shorts for the last 2 volumes, I think. At least 2 volumes. I started doing them really in volume 5, but I've been doing them for a while. I mean, I'm no Hammer Time out there, but I you know, I can still make a good shit post. I can still make a good meme. At least I think I can. At least that's what I tell myself. Are you going to be playing Kingdom Hearts 3? Does a bear shit in the woods? Yes, I'm going to be playing Kingdom Hearts 3. I'm going to be streaming it on Twitch, and then I will be re-uploading it to YouTube. So, yeah. Kingdom Hearts 3, I'm going to be playing the game nonstop until I finish it. So, it's going to be really hard for me to focus on Genlock when KH3 comes out, to be completely honest with you guys. Just because I've been waiting for KH3 my whole life. Like, I played every Kingdom Hearts game since I was, like, 11 or 12. And Kingdom Hearts 3 is now coming out in less than 2 weeks. So... like, I'm so happy RWBY's done. I'm like, RWBY, if RWBY wasn't done, I'd be like, it'd be like choosing which child I like better. Like, do I choose Kingdom Hearts 3 or do I choose RWBY to continue? Like, it's like I either have to start one or I have to finish one. And I'm just happy that the schedule works out to where the finale comes. The RWBY finale is 3 days before Kingdom Hearts comes out, so I can have my cake and eat it too, which is it just frees me up with so much that I have to deal with like, okay, I don't have to focus on both of them at once. But yeah, don't let your memes be dreams. Oh, that's funny. But yeah, so anyways, going back to things, this was a really intense moment right here. I love how Jean was like constantly looking up, like, do I have time? Will I make it? And then he had to like just make like the old college try. And he nailed it. But yeah, like, his semblance saved Nora's life. Nora would have just been splatted, like just would have been like a fly on a, I don't know, it's just been like swatting a fly. I feel like Nora's remains would have just been on the hand of that mech, if not for Jean's semblance kicking in. And basically what he did was he over amplified both of them. So he basically just shielded both of them with his aura, so that way neither of them died. But as you can see, right after they get slapped into the rocks, you see his aura and Nora's aura flicker. I don't know if that means their aura's down. I mean, it would make sense, at least for Jean, because Jean just got wrecked. If both of their auras are down, like if that one shot took out his overshield and their natural aura defenses. But yeah, And then this is where everything just started going to shit. Like, they just get swatted. Ren's, like, going nuts. He's like, no! And then they get blasted out of the sky. RWBY falls to the cliffside. And I'm like, all right, this is where the plan goes to shit. So, it was a pretty intense moment to just, like, I'm like, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? And then Maria, freaking Maria Cocky Calavera. Can we start calling her that? She is so cocky, man. So cocky. It's a little annoying how cocky she is. You know, like it's one thing for the oh yeah, also there's this too. Like I said, the citizens are being like, look at that child's face. You know how many Grimm are gonna be excited to like rampage this city because of this kid, because this kid's in distress. But yeah, like this doesn't bode well for anybody here, because everyone's now like, what the hell's going on? We're a little worried. Meanwhile, Calavera's like, I'm going to defeat you. Look at the might of Atlas. We are strong. We will not be silenced. Like, whatever. So yeah, I do think like a Grimm's gonna show up and just wreck everybody, and it's gonna literally be Team RWBY's fault. Like, no bullshit, it's going to be Team RWBY's fault that things are going to take a turn for the worst here, because they had no other option but to attack a base, because they had no other way to get to Atlas. I'm trying to think. I mean, obviously, I can't think on the spot of how they'd be able to get there. Crow could at least get there. Like, turn into a bird and fly your ass to Atlas. I don't know how long he can stay in that bird form either, but like, and that's also a little ridiculous to expect him to fly across like the ocean by himself to another continent. No. Shane Miller. That's not Calavera, that's Cordovan. No. I'm talking about Calavera. Right here. This scene was what I was referring to. She is so cocky that she didn't even launch all of the missiles in the silo. She launched one. That is like some next level cockiness. Because that missile eventually came back to bite her in the ass. And Oscar subsequently. If she launched all of them, they probably would have been done with her. So yeah, I definitely meant what I said. Like, Maria, like, what are you doing? Why did you feel the need to shoot one? To make a point? To be like, hey Cordo, you know, I'm still here. You still have to deal with me. I don't know. I know that it was pretty badass. Like, oh shit, Maria's so next level. She thinks she can actually do this with one in the chamber. Like, let's go. And then that happens. Also, was anyone else confused by this? Because the missile goes, and then this shot happens. And I was like, what the hell happened? And then only after I realized she's like winding it back, I was like, oh, she caught it. But in the moment, I was like, what the hell happened? Like, it didn't translate well that she caught it, is what I'm getting at. Yeah. I was confused. Yeah, I mean, it was like once I saw like the clenched fist and I didn't see the missile blow her up, I was like, okay, she must have caught it. But then she's like, yo, big brain, let me dish this back, return to sender. But yeah, like I said, if it was like all like 15 of those missiles, then, you know, done deal. I think she would have been all set. The generators, the shields are down and everything. I'm just like, God damn it, Maria, really? You had to like flex. You know? Yeet! Yeah, she just, like, yeets it back to her. Rule of cool. Yeah, I feel like it was a little, I swear to God, they're just trying to one-up each other. Just, like, the cashews, and then, Cordovan's like, okay, let me bust out the big guns, and then she's like, this is me not caring. I'm like, oh my God, you're making it worse. So yeah, weird flex, but okay. Hey, I'm late. We'll be popping in and out. Hashtag Oscar Protection Squad. Where you at? Yeah, like Oscar. Poor Oscar, man. I wonder if this is where Ozpin's gonna come back into the mix, especially if like Oscar's like unconscious or whatever, because then there's no one at the helm taking control. But yeah, like Maria like got him caught up in her whole business with I mean, he obviously is trying to help as well, and he's like providing air support, so it's understandable. But yeah, I just think like she shouldn't have done that. If you're gonna go all in. Like, you guys are trying to end this as soon as, at least I'm expecting y'all to try to end this as soon as possible. But nonetheless, it looked cool happening. It's just like, upon rewatching it, I'm just like, not the smartest thing you could have done there. Someone save my son. I can only imagine how many people like love Oscar and are realizing how much this kid's being thrown through the ringer, right? Like, first it was like he gets punched in the face by Crow because, you know, it was Ozpin at the time. And then, like, he gets manhandled by Jean in the house because, you know, like, oh, you knew about this, you were in on it. You know, just, like, freaking manhandling him to the point where he, like, they thought he ran away, or maybe he did run away or whatever. And, like, now he's potentially gonna be, he's in more danger now, because now he's in, like, he's spiraling out of control. So, yeah, yeah, we need that Oscar protection squad. And he's in his new outfit, too. Like, come on. I don't know. Ozpin needs to go. I am so, and I tweeted this too. Like, I was like, I miss Ozpin. Like, I'm like low key, like, I really miss this man. You know, he's been gone since the 2nd chapter, and I'm like, damn, are they really gonna go the whole volume without Ozpin? And then I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, what would be an appropriate situation for him to come back? And this seems like it. At the very least, like, if Oscar's unconscious, then it would make sense for Ozpin to kind of surface and take over, you know, to keep both of them alive. But yeah, I don't know. I really miss Ozpin. And this is where I'm gonna kind of pivot to where I want to try to get some of my thoughts out on the next couple of moments. This is my favorite fight. This fight is my favorite of the 2 fights of the episode. Adam versus Blake was so exciting to see for so many reasons. Number one, obviously, this is what they've been setting up for God knows how long, of Adam constantly chasing Blake. Blake wasn't ready to fight him in Volume 3. Like, she ran off scared and frightened. And then Volume 4, she kind of, like, got her strength back, like, from the help of Sun and seeing her family again. And obviously the whole Ilya dynamic. And then by Volume 5, she had that strength and that confidence to kind of stand up to him. And now she's like, okay, now I'm ready to, like, 1v1 you. Regardless of that, she's not going to beat Adam. Like, there's no way that Blake, like, she just lacks the, like, she lacks just, like, the raw power and skill, I think, to defeat someone like Adam. At least on her own, like, one-on-one. And it's very clear, like, this fight, like, the reason I like this fight so much, and why it's such a drastic contrast to why, you know, most people would be like, oh, well, why didn't you like the Blake versus Yang fight more than this one? One of the big reasons why I like this fight so much is because Blake knows Adam more than anybody. And that goes for his fighting style, too. So at the very least, it makes sense from their dynamic why she's able to go toe-to-toe with him for so long, despite the fact that he still kind of wins overall. You know, she knows his semblance, she knows his fighting style, and she's able to react a lot better than anybody, you know, when it comes to fighting him. And again, it comes from the fact that they were, you know, he was like her mentor. They were obviously together. They went on missions together and stuff like that, and they were kind of partners. So it just makes sense in general for her to kind of know how to deal with him in a fight. But that's I think like why I like the fight the most, because it's a constant back and forth. It's not like Adam's getting his teeth kicked in. It's not like Blake is getting completely overpowered. And so it's just a constant back and forth, and I really, really liked that. It didn't feel like one person was just completely dominating the fight. Right, like Blake got some shots in, Adam got some hits in, and it was just a constant shift back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And eventually, obviously, we see that Blake ends up getting caught off guard because he, like, swings back his sword and just hits her in the head, and, you know, at that point, that's where the fight shifts in Adam's favor. But I think this is one of the... First off, I think this is the best fight in the volume. I will go as far as to say this is one of the best fights of the series. I don't know if just this fight. I think it's also worth combining this fight and the Blake and the Yang part of the fight as well, because that fight was really great too. But I definitely enjoyed this one a lot more, because it was like the first half in the woods and then the second half by the waterfall, and I like how they both kind of, it came together as a whole. A lot of moments like that, like calculated moments, like where Adam shoots his gun and it like intercepts like her weapon, and Blake's finally dual wielding. Finally dual wielding since like the Black trailer. I swear to God, it's like she forgot that her sheath is also, it's like a bladed sheath that she can also use to fight with. It's like it was like so. I was like, I feel like we're never gonna see her dual wield. Like, now we're never gonna see her dual wield unless she gets a new weapon or unless she gets it fixed. But it was so cool that we just saw Blake in her like a full range of like her as a huntress, and especially how she was during the Black trailer. It was great. It reminds me of like the Neo fight, where like Volume 2 was the standard. And oh gosh, hold on a second. I need to turn my phone off. I hate hearing notifications when I'm streaming. It's like the Blake fight. I'm not the Blake fight, sorry. It's like the Neo fight, where Volume 2 was the standard for Neo, because that's like really where we saw her fighting style, and we saw like her mannerisms and how she goes about fighting. And then we see her again in Volume 5, and it's very clear that the RWBY analyzed and studied Neo's fighting style from Volume 2 and incorporated it and improved upon it in this volume. So it reminds me too, like, of like both of these characters are in like their prime since like the Black trailer, where they really were first expressed heavily from like what Monty originally did for them in that time. So I think this is definitely like them, like a refinement of them since that point, because since then I don't think Blake has ever really like, she fought Torchwick, like she had like a little skirmish with it. She completely bodied Torchwick on the train, so there wasn't really much of that. She had a little skirmish with him, and when she was fighting him against Sun, but it was never something to this extent, or never something to the extent of the Black trailer. So it's great to see that we're actually seeing, and it's both of them fighting this time. Instead of them fighting side by side, it's both of them confronting each other. Her fight with Ilya was solid. I will give you that. I will say that as well. I don't know. That fight was good, but it's not on the same level of this one when I compare it to something like, say, like the Black trailer. And I'm not comparing it to the Black trailer because it's like, oh, Monty's, what Monty did compared to what the RWBY now is doing. I'm saying it from like, it makes sense for this fight. Adam and Blake fighting. She's fought with him in the past. Black trailer as an example, so it makes sense of why she's able to deal with him, and why it's such an even matchup. Despite the fact that I think Adam can run circles around Blake and run circles around Yang separately, but I think the whole point of where they set up the next episode with them now is just the fact of like, Blake can't beat Adam by herself, Yang can't beat Adam by herself, but they can beat Adam together. I think that's what they really were going for. Yeah, she didn't dual wield with Ilya either, and that's like one of the crowning jewels of Blake's weapon, is like she has Gamble's Shroud, but she's never we haven't seen her ever utilize she's never dual wielded. And she's like, Monty's design of these characters is like, oh, if you want to categorize all the characters, Blake is the ninja, she's the rogue, and rogues usually are dual wielders. And like, she has like the dual wielding aspect of her weapons, but she's never used it. So it's like a wasted potential thing, because it's like, I always want to see it, but now we're seeing it. So I'm like super happy that it's a long time coming, basically. It's a long time coming. But yeah, I loved this fight so much. Adam, oh my God. And another reason why I loved this fight so much is because Volume 5 left a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths when it came to how Blake... Because when you look at Volume 5, I guess you can look at it from a psychological perspective, right? Like, all of Adam's plans are falling behind, everything's crumbling around him. Hazel's been taken care of, Ilya defused the bombs, the citizens of Menagerie, showed up and dealt with the situation, and Adam's like, fuck, I got nothing. And what do I do now? And he goes at Blake, and Blake just double hammer fist, just punches him and knocks him down. And I see that, and it's such a blemish on Adam. Especially when you see him fighting her like this. It makes me wonder, where was this last volume? I can understand the circumstances of why that happened, but to an extent, it makes me wonder, I don't know. It's just something that it's so hard to overlook, because he's a freaking animal. He's such a, no pun intended, and no I'm not using that as a discriminatory, I'm not discriminating fondness when I say that, but I mean that in the best way possible. This guy's a freaking monster. When he fights, he's such a great fighter. And yeah. That's racist. Oh God. Here we go. There it is. There it is, guys. I'm labeled. Feels bad, man. Don't disrespect the faunus. Demonetized. Jesus. Oh boy. Yeah, well, they're called animals in RWBY, so I can't call him an animal anymore. I mean that in a way that's this guy is unhinged. Look at him, dude. And such a, this fight was so cool. This fight was so awesome. And it goes to show again, Adam is a threat, and he's someone you have to take seriously, especially in a fight. And he's definitely trying to kill Blake here. So the fact that she's holding her own goes to show how much she's improved as a fighter too. But in no way, in no part of my mind was I Blake's gonna beat him. In my head, it was I'm rooting for Blake to win, but I'm pretty sure Yang's gonna be the one to come in to kind of save the day, essentially. But yeah, for shame. Okay, guys. Okay, someone was like, Arnold is an Atlesian confirmed. Oh boy. Oh boy. Arnold Schnee? I don't know about that one. I don't know about that one, Chief. Call PETA. All right, guys. Yeah. All right. Let's relax. Let's all settle down. We're all faunus equality for sure. So, oh boy. Don't want to talk about this now. Hold on. Let me try to gather my thoughts, because I want this to kind of, I don't want to be jump in a bunch of different ways here. Actually, no, I'll wait. It's a little bit further. And someone kind of made a comment that kind of sparked me wanting to talk about this now. But can we get an RIP for Gamble Shroud in the chat? Adam just broke Blake's weapon. Now, to some people, this is upsetting, right? It's oh my God, you broke her weapon. What's gonna happen now? Blake has no freaking weapon. Yeah, the blade's broken. She can just replace the blade, right? I assume. But I think this was intentional. Obviously, from the story's perspective, too, and also from the intentions of what they're planning for Blake in the future. Hold on. And the reason I say that, and I know I'm dredging up the past, but in a way I still feel like it could be relevant, is this tweet here that Monty responded to a fan in 2013, where someone was making a prop version of Blake's weapon. It was I'm 5 minutes into your RWBY prop and I'm already butt frustrated. And Monty replied with, LOL. You should see what I have planned for its Volume 3 upgrade. Now, I don't know if, right, because a lot of characters in the show have gotten weapon upgrades, particularly, actually, Jean and Nora really got upgrades to their weapons, but I don't know if Monty's plans were ever realized, if he ever conceptualized those plans to happen, But like I can easily see this being something that they had to like repurpose and restructure for like when's a good point to like give Blake a reason to have a weapon up, to get a weapon upgrade. Yeah, Yang kind of got an upgrade too. Like she got an arm upgrade basically. But I think this is what they might be setting up for. Like she's gonna get a weapon upgrade now that her old like Gamble Shroud just got destroyed in this episode, and it might be when they go to Atlas, which is a little interesting considering it's Atlas that she'd be getting the weapon from that, and they don't like Faunus. So yeah. I think this was coming. Like I said, I don't know if Monty ever, because that was in what, 2013? So that was right after Volume 1 that he said that. So he said he had plans for Blake's upgrade 2 volumes in advance, and, you know, obviously he passed away after Volume 2, so I'm wondering if he ever, like, conceptualized those plans with Miles and Carrie, if it was ever realized when it would be appropriate to kind of have that happen, or if it was just something that he had in his head that he was just like, oh, I have plans for it, but, you know, plans always change, and, you know, things change when it comes to creating a story or whatever. So yeah, like he was in Volume 1, and it's like the meme, right? It's like everyone's living in 2019 and this man's living in 3019. It's like he was in Volume 1. He had just finished Volume 1 and he was already thinking about stuff 2 volumes in the future, you know? And unfortunately, he never even, he passed away before he was able to see the realization of what Volume 3 became. So it's completely understandable if they conceptualized it, you know, how far in advance did he plan when this upgrade would make an appearance. It's the same thing with like the Apathy Grim, and the same thing with the Geist Grim. Like the Geist Grim was supposed to be in Volume 1, but they were like, okay, I don't know if we can really do that, at least right now. Corsac and Fennec were supposed to be in Volume 1. That didn't end up happening. The Apathy Grim were something that were conceptualized before Volume 1, but they were like, this is a Grim that's a little too tough to handle, at least right now, so we have to like wait until the characters are ready to deal with something like this. So it's never a fact of like, there's never really like a golden standard or a golden rule that's like, this is how it originally happened, so it has to see it through. You know, things get rearranged, things get replaced or adjusted or whatever you want to, however you want to call it.
Silence for the death of an awesome concept.
So yeah,
the
gun sword whip. A moment of silence for the death of an awesome concept. The gun sword whip. I think it actually reminds me more of a kunai with chain, except for the chain it's a bow, like or like a ribbon that she uses instead of the chain, and then yeah, it's also a gun. You gotta be flexible, exactly, and not everything pans out the way. Like I said, like the Apathy is Miles's favorite Grim, and Miles has been talking about that Grim since like Volume 2. Since like Volume 2, Volume 3, he's been saying, I can't wait for you guys to see my favorite Grim. And then like he wanted to put it in Volume 4 and then they had to push it back. And then he wanted to put it in Volume 5, but they had to push it back. So they waited for the perfect time to put it in. And Volume 6 was that. So yeah. Kunai with chain. Yeah. A good old cameo there of Joey Wheeler, the Godfather of games. But yeah, so yeah, I think Blake is not only long overdue for an upgrade, but it'd be pretty cool to see what they decide to give her if they don't just simply replace her weapon. Which I think the whole point of like breaking the blade in half signifies like, okay, this is done for. Like, let's give her something new. I just don't know if what that's gonna be, what it'll be like. Oh boy. So this was huge. Oh my god. The freaking Schnee Dust Company brand on Adam's face. After I watched this episode, I went back to the Black trailer and I said to myself, I was like, knowing that this is on Adam's face, when you go back and watch the show now, like if you go back and watch the Black trailer, this man was branded with the Schnee Dust Company logo on his face as a kid. No fucking wonder he's robbing the Schnee Dust Company train. Like, no fucking wonder, dude. And I'm like, oh my god. It gave him so much depth. And they didn't even have to explain it. They didn't even have to tell us, like, who did this to him, who specifically did this to him, how it happened. It was just a matter of an inhumane act done by some really shitty people, I will say. And I'll go as far, okay, and this is where I'm going to start getting a little, not opinionated, but I'm going to go off the beaten path a little bit here, because this scene, I really appreciated it, and I really liked that they showed us this, and this is something that we've been waiting to see for God knows how many years, and we're finally getting it now, and it's a little annoying. But I wish you guys can see my background right now. My background for my computer is Adam. Last chapter, when he's like charging his weapon, like when they show like the new effect, like with him having like the black and red lightning. That's my background for my computer right now. I am so invested with Adam, and the build up for it has been great. And the biggest thing for me that I've always wanted to know for Adam was why? Why are you doing this? Why did you join the White Fang? Why do you hate humanity so much? Why are you so attached to Blake? It's always been a matter of why. It's never been a matter of, right, in the brand, it explains, but it doesn't excuse. And what annoys me a lot, or what's been annoying me over the last couple of, over like the last 2 weeks at least, is that there are people who just don't like Adam simply because, I don't know, there's a bunch of different reasons. Like, some people put themselves wholly into this show, and if they see, you know, and I don't know people's life experiences, I don't know, you know, what people deal with, whether they're part of a community or whatever the case might be. And obviously Adam being a manipulator, being someone who's very toxic, especially with the relationship of being a controlling person with Blake, I can understand someone who's been through that, right? I can understand if someone has had a boyfriend like Adam and just hates him, like seething hatred for any person who's like him. But from a storytelling perspective, you're supposed to hate the villains. You're supposed to hate Cinder. You're supposed to hate Adam. You're supposed to hate, you know, not really Salem, but like the villains. That's their purpose. Like you're supposed to love to hate them, because that's basically what a villain is, or an antagonist at the very least. So I like Adam's. I appreciate this episode, and this is what I needed to kind of get me invested in Adam as a character. But where the annoyance comes from, and this can come from a multitude of things. Like I said, it could come from what I just explained of people who have dealt with people like Adam in their life, and they're unable to kind of separate the character from the concept of like what he represents as a person. It could be from people who just simply see Adam as an obstacle for the ship. It could be people just seeing Adam as just like they just don't care for him as a character. But like, I don't like the idea that some people immediately gravitate to, you like Adam, then you're an abuser sympathizer, or you're somebody who advocates for what Adam does, as if me liking him excuses what he does. Like I said, the brand explains what he does, it doesn't excuse what he does. It doesn't take away the fact that he kills innocent people. It doesn't take away from the fact that he is leading a terrorist organization and that he's not the best person in the world, and I think he's too far gone for redemption. But at the same time, as a villain, as a character, as a set piece in a fictional world, as a character that's supposed to invoke an emotion from you, from the audience, I sympathize with what they did to him, because he wasn't this person when this happened. And that's why I gravitate towards Adam a lot more now, and I really hope they don't kill him off, because I want to see his history. I want to see that past of him. And I'm going a little off the cuff with this, because like someone literally tweeted at me after I said that, and they were like, "Oh, you sympathize with a toxic, abusive boyfriend. You should be better." And I'm like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" Like, it's almost like unbelievable that someone would literally just come to that conclusion that I can't like a fictional character because he represents something that happens in the real world. It's like, no, like I appreciate Adam so much. And especially if you like Blake, if you like Yang, it's a little twisted, but he made them stronger. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So in a way, you could also appreciate Adam for making Yang and making Blake stronger and making their dynamic stronger, despite the fact that they went through some tough shit to do that. And I think it was Miles who also said something along the lines of like, you know, we want to let our characters shine, but we have to roughen them up a bit. You know, it's like he kind of compared them to like diamonds. He was like, you know, we want them to shine like diamonds, but similar diamonds, they got to be put under a lot of pressure for them to get to that point. So yeah, and again, this comes more from like it spawns from a community reaction, similar to how people overreact about the whole Bumblebee situation. Again, it comes from a place of, I don't know what it's like to be LGBT. I try to stay away from that as much as I can because I don't really think I know all that much about it. Actually, I don't think I know that much about it. I don't know the history. I don't know the culture. I don't know how they're represented in the media. I mean, I do from like a face value perspective, but not to say like I go through it. But at the same time, I don't think it's crazy. I don't think it's like a mind-blowing concept that two girls are together. I don't think it's something that really is like, and again, like it's person to person, but for me, that's the world we live in. There are gay people in our world. There are lesbians. There are transgenders. There's, you know, it's you know, LGBTQ+. So it doesn't faze me that much that that's a thing in this universe as well. Because it's like, well, then people can relate to the character or people can identify with that character if it's something that they also go through. So yeah, it just, again, it comes down to the fandom reaction, and I love and hate it at the same time because I'm so engrossed in this community. I've been a part of the community since Volume 2. I started on Facebook with with Facebook groups and people posting theories and fan art, and Volume 2 is where I first discovered shipping. I didn't know what a ship was before Volume 2 of RWBY, and I was like, why are they calling it ships? And then I realized, oh, relationships. And I was like, I don't get the idea of pairing two characters who've never seen each other, who've never even talked, let alone know each other exists, but people are shipping them. And I'm like, okay, it's kind of cool. You get like really cool creative nicknames for it. So I was like, I didn't even know what a ship was. Like, so RWBY introduced me to that concept, and then it just snowballed. And right, like I'm a content creator on YouTube and I make videos about RWBY, and people in the community obviously know me and they watch my content or they know my name or whatever the case might be. And I'm around anywhere when it comes to RWBY. I watch reaction videos, I watch reviews, I watch breakdowns, I watch theories, I see a shit ton of fan art, and I see the good, I see all of the good in the community, and I see all of the awful and all of the bad in the community, and it makes me like sick. That like, for as much good as we do, we kind of also damn ourselves because we're so vindictive, or we're so petty in a way too. I don't think it really should be for anyone to decide who I am as a person because I feel bad that humans branded Adam long before he ever met Blake, long before probably he ever strayed down the path that he did. And that's something that I'm taken aback by. I'm like, what? You want to say people who sympathize with Adam or people who feel bad, let alone like feel like he's justified, right? Like, oh, hashtag Adam did nothing wrong. Obviously that's a meme, but like, I don't think any logical person would sit there and say Adam deserved to do what he did. Adam deserves to kill these innocent people because what irrelevant people did to him in the past that you can't change. And, there's just those reactions that he has, and, he decided he chose this path for himself, and there's no way he can take back everything that he did. I just don't like how some people are just so knee-jerk reaction. They don't stop, they don't think. They think, I already hate Adam, so I hate anybody who also likes Adam. Or they're unable to kind of separate the character from the concept. Just look at Adam as an individual. Don't look at him as like a Blake, like from Blake's perspective. Don't look at him from Yang's perspective. Look at Adam as a character. And like what he, like the brand said so much about him. It said so much about him, and I love
tried to kill Crow.
Where they're
Crow
going
is
with
also
it,
a bird.
but I don't know if they're gonna
MurderofBirds.
just like kill
Oh my
him
God.
now.
It
And
all
I
makes
don't
sense.
want them to kill
Arnold
him.
must
Like
be an
I
animal
really
abuse
don't want them to kill
sympathizer.
him. Like knock his ass out, arrest him or something, but he's at least worthy of a plot point for his origin, or at the very least to kind of put 2 and 2 together. Because again, I last volume I was like it's very hard for me to not see Adam as this stalkery ex-boyfriend who can't get over the fact that Blake left him, because they don't give us anything. Like why, again, it always comes down to why. Like we don't know the whys of anything with Adam, and now the brand at the very least gives a lot, and I want them to go with it a little bit more. I don't know if they'll give us a flashback. We have 2 episodes left, you know what I mean? Blake and Yang are about to fight him now, or like she gave him a chance, and if he goes for it, like I think this is going to be a fight to the death. I will just be very upset if they squander the opportunity to do more with his character. And like I said, I do feel that those people who just jump the gun because they like Bumblebee so much that Adam gets in the way of that, or they hate Adam so much because of, a personal attachment to who he is as a person, if that's something that they've gone through in their life. At the same time, like, and in a way, I'll put it in this way too, right? Piero was my favorite character. That would be like if I condemned Cinder as a character and anybody who liked her as a character because she killed my favorite character. That is a little extreme in my opinion. That's a little extreme in my opinion for me to be like, fuck Cinder, fuck everything she stands for, screw her as a character, I don't want to see her on screen, I hate her, and anybody who likes her, I feel the same way about. Like, it's a little extreme in my opinion. And I don't think it's fair to judge others because of a character that they like. And I made the tweet kind of followed that. I was like, Cinder murders people, Ozpin lies a lot, Adam's a manipulator. Just because you like these characters in a fictional story does not mean you advocate what they do or you advocate their actions in real life. It explains what they are doing. It doesn't excuse what they're doing. So that's my little soapbox right there. And that's like really like, that's the big hot take that I wanted to talk about in terms of the opinion that I had, is just like the fan reactions to everything. The fan reactions to everything are just sickening already. It annoys me so much. And I'm not an RT staff. I'm not under any NDA. Just because Rooster Teeth knows who I am doesn't mean I'm not going to say what's on my mind. So I can easily just call out anything that I feel is just off to me, or something that I don't like in the community, or if it puts us in a bad light, or if it looks bad in general, or if it's something that affects me that I feel like other people also go through. Like, who gives a shit if Blake and Yang end up together? Like, really, who cares? People are going to be happy about it, people are going to be upset about it, but like,
just want to say I
really
appreciate these discussions.
Hold on.
I've always been afraid of voicing my opinions cause I'm afraid of being judged too harshly. Wish I could be as confident as you, and I wish there were more people like you in the world.
Oh, trust me, dude. The moments of my life where I was very not confident and where I was very, what's it called? Like, that's all in the past for me. Like middle school and high school, being picked on, being bullied, like all that shit. Like, that's where I was like timid and scared and afraid. But like, because I went through that shit, like nothing can hurt me. Like, quite literally nothing can hurt me. No one can hurt me. Only I can hurt myself from what people say to me. And while I wasn't like crying myself to sleep over the tweet that person sent to me, I at the very least was like, well, I'm definitely going to talk about it, because if people are willing to kind of go out of their way to say stuff like that to just a random person like me, I can only imagine how much more drastic it is in the fandom. So yeah, I don't care. Like, I'll say what's on my mind, I'll speak my opinion, and if there's something in the community that's really fucking annoying, I'm going to say something about it. Because, like, staff won't really get, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't expect anyone at Rooster Teeth to just come out of the woodwork, you know, obviously, unless it's something that's incredibly heinous, like if you're like homophobic or something like that, like, let people live their fucking life. How does that, you know, why does that bother you, right? Or I don't know. I just feel like that's like a very archaic way of thinking, and it's something that some people, I think, are just stuck in their ways of stuff like that, or it conflicts with their beliefs or whatever. But to me, I'm just like, live and let live. If you're not hurting anybody, if you're not breaking the law, and if it's consensual to both parties or all parties involved, who cares? So that's my opinion on it. I've never had an issue with shipping. I've never had an issue with LGBT in this show or any show or in general in my life. Like, I've never discriminated or anything for anyone for the way that, for the walk of life that they go through. It's always come down to how people react to it. It's always come down to people losing their goddamn minds over it, for like, maybe they're overexcited, and you know, that can come off as a little like, okay, like it's great, but it's not that great. Or it comes from like, people are overly negative about it, like, oh my god, I can't believe they're doing this. I don't know. It's like I said, it's a little annoying. I feel like I'm preaching way too freaking much tonight. But again, like I said, this was like a big point of, like, I wanted to at least mention this because it comes down to this part too, like the second half. And again, like, I really wish, or I really hoped that, I've already mentioned this in the past too. Late again. Oh no, Brianna, don't feel bad. Don't feel bad. I've been rambling this whole time too. We're getting to the good parts. Late again. Sorry, I missed so much, but I agree with you about the toxicness. It can kind of take the fun out of the show, but that's why I focus on your reactions. You may have different opinions, but you're very respectful. I mean, I don't know. I hate that it's something that I have to like come out and say or spell out to people. Or I feel like I hate that like people just don't already know who I am. It's like, okay, I have to come out and physically say, I do not advocate for what Adam does in real life just because I like him as a fictional character in RWBY. This is like something that I was thinking about earlier, but it comes back to like moments like this, or moments like what I'm talking about in general. But a big part of what I feel, a big part of like initially like what really kind of like annoyed me from time to time was how much emphasis people put on, or how much people severely focused on the shipping in this show. And I remember I met somebody at RTX last year, and I was talking to them about RWBY, and I basically asked like, oh, how did you get into the show and stuff like that? And they were basically like, oh, I got into it, I guess they got into it like from the Tumblr community and the shipping community. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And I was just trying to strike up a conversation because I don't know how invested everyone is with RWBY when I talk to them. There are some people that are like, oh, I'm not caught up. And I'm like, okay, so I have to, so like my depth of conversation is either very shallow or it's very deep. So like, to some people who only invest in the show when it comes to shipping, it's a little upsetting to me as someone who is fully immersed in the show, because it's like you miss out on so many other things when you only focus on, I just want to find out who's going to end up with who at the end of the day, or that's just the overarching thing that you're focusing on. So when people see stuff like this and they're like a Bumblebee shipper, they're like, yeah, fuck Adam because it makes Bumblebee more possible. In my head, it's just something that I don't know, I just shake my head at to an extent, because I'm like, there's so much more to Adam than just like being a road to being a blockade in the road for Blake and Yang. He is oh my god, I can't talk today. He is an obstacle for them for sure, but it goes way beyond just the possibility of them two being in a relationship. And like, there were so many reactions that I saw to this Bumblebee moment, and it's funny as fuck. Like, they cut all audio right before the bike hits him, and like, yeah, rip Bumblebee, by the way, because she sacrificed her bike to save Blake, that's fucking awesome. And it was also something that a lot of people wanted to see happen in the previous episode. Like, the previous episode, people were like, I just want Yang to just show up and hit Adam with her bike. And then in this episode, she actually does it. I'm like, yo, that's badass as fuck. And then the fight happens, which is even cooler. But, like, I feel like some people just out of the spite fact that Adam is in the way of their ship makes me, like, I don't know, it just kind of makes me want to like Adam even more, because it's like there's so many people out there that don't like him for a like surface value or such a simple reason why they don't like him, instead of at least being intrigued or interested in learning how he became the person he is. People just see him for the person he is and they don't care right out the gate, you know? So at the end of the day, I feel like I'm rambling at this point. It's just a different way that I interpret it. Like, obviously, not everyone's going to think or react the same way I do. But I try to just look at everything equally or fairly, instead of it just being based on, like, I want this thing to happen, so screw everything else that makes it harder for that to happen. This fight was great, too. This fight was awesome, especially since they started showing shit like that, like shit Adam's never done before, like after images and like throwing his weapon. Obviously Yang's back into it, like she's like bobbing and weaving. This was such a great fight. So this was my favorite part right there, when she like does like the rapid fire punches. That reminds me of an attack that she does in Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle. She has an attack like that. And then we see Moonslice. We get the official confirmation of his semblance, how it works. It's similar to Yang's, except he doesn't take damage. I was a little bit annoyed that Yang was like, that's so cheap. I'm like, come on. That's the battle cry of someone complaining, you know? And now I want to get into the second half. Will the bees ever hook up? Well, oh god. Find out next time on Dragon Ball.
Does anyone still give a damn about Adam? Will I ever stop with the puns? Find out next time on Dragon Ball, I mean RWBY.
Will I ever stop with these puns? Find out next time. So yeah, I thought this was a great fight. Obviously, it shows off Yang really well, like right out the gate, like fighting Adam. I like that scene right there because she shot her gauntlets, went at Adam, and she like pivoted to the side. Hold on, I'm gonna turn this off quick because I kind of want to get my thoughts out. She pivoted to the side. And that was the exact same thing that she did when she first went at Adam in Volume 3, and he went to go slice, and she dodged, she stepped to the side because, you know, she learned, last time I did that, I got my arm cut off. Alright, okay, let's see. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to, like, cut you off like that, Soul, but I didn't want to, like, stop mid-sentence. Can we talk about Adam's aura? Man fell from a tower, got shot and hit by both Blake and Yang quite a bit. He also ran over by a speeding, falling bike. He can take a hit, well, in this volume at least, seems to be tougher than most other characters. Absolutely. And, like, I do want to talk about, I guess, that and just a few things that, like I said, I tweeted about this too, where I mentioned I liked watching this episode. Like, when you see my first reaction, I am so happy. I'm so ecstatic. I'm just so happy. I'm like, this is like the best fucking fight ever. I'm just like giddy with excitement for the episode as I'm watching like one fight and then we get one right after it. So my initial reaction is that, but then I rewatched the episode and I'm rewatching the episode and then I'm like, I'm actually able to kind of sit down and not lose my goddamn mind and actually see what's happening. I went into this episode, and this could just be based on not misinterpretation, but this could just be based on my expectations not being met. But I went into it because, like, right, so let's go into a little bit of the past. So Volume 3 happens. Yang gets her arm cut off. Blake runs away. Weiss goes back home. Ruby leaves off for her journey. Yang gets her arm cut off. Volume 4 happens. She's having PTSD with Adam. She, like, drops the cup. You know, she sees the vision. She sees the slice, and she's, like, freaking out. She has the nightmare about Adam. She's super fucking shook about everything regarding him. She has like this lingering shaking effect that happens every time she fights or every time she gets upset or angry. You know, even this volume, she was scared of a tree because she thought it was Adam. And I felt like, and obviously this is something that a lot of people have also mentioned, but like I felt like it was building up to like, I can only imagine what she's going to be like when she actually sees Adam. Like when she sees the person that inflicted all of this pain onto her. And it's not there. She sees Adam for the first time since the fall of Beacon, and she's bodying him. Like, I think he got like 2 hits off on her. And I don't know how I feel about that, because it makes it seem like, again, I don't know if I read too much into like the shaking and the flashback and the PTS, quote unquote PTSD, but if anything, I felt like this should have happened after she had like a breakdown and Yang was there, and then Blake would have been there to, you know, pick her back up and, you know, help her get through it. But the opposite happened. We got this epic fight and then her hand starts shaking, which is like ass backwards in my mind, at least. And another thing too that I feel like doesn't translate well in my mind is that they're doing role reversal now. They're doing role reversal, and again, it doesn't translate well for me, at least, because Yang is now cool, calm, and collected. Adam is like off his rocker. You have Yang, who hasn't used her semblance once, and you have Adam, who keeps using his semblance over and over. He used it against Blake. He used it against, well, did he use it against Blake? No, like he used it like 2 or 3 times against Yang, and like, I'm like, okay, I get it. Like, it's the role reversal. She's learning, you know, like, he's in the situation that she used to be in. She's in the situation that he used to be in. But at the same time, Yang still has always been the same for the most part. She's always still gotten into fights. She's always still gotten angry and reacted, you know, like, right, like the freaking shady man, like, touched her hair and she, like, went semblance and punched him in the face. Raven's bandit camp, she's like yelling off at the mouth, like, take me to Crow, damn it, like getting angry, getting pissed off to get what she wants. And like, and then when you see it, and then when you see this fight, I'm like, it's almost, I don't know, it just translates so differently for me, because it's like, I don't know how to word it. I don't know if like there's more to tell. That's why I'm kind of like still reserving most of my thoughts about it, just because I want to see how they're going to continue with the next episode, because it's very odd to me that she's just not faltering at all with Adam, despite the fact that she's been like shaking in her boots up until seeing him. You know? Yeah, it can be growth. I just think that it's odd that, you know, she's jumping at like a shadow and jumping at like a tree because she thinks it's him, but then like she's like squaring up with, like straight up squaring off with him. Yeah, one has grown from the past, the other hasn't. That makes a lot of sense. Like, yeah, like Adam's very much stagnant, whereas Yang, literally, she definitely grew. I'm not like, me saying this, I'm not taking away the fact that, yeah, she's obviously like grown, and now that Adam is here, she's not going to be like, all right, this is time for me to you know, to be like a dog with my tail between my legs and be scared, especially when Blake needs her to protect her. And this is another thing too. This is what I kind of like, the contrast there, because a few episodes ago, Yang got mad that Blake said, "Oh, I'll protect you," but now Yang is the one protecting Blake. So it makes a lot of sense that at the end Blake was like, she's not protecting me, and I'm not protecting her, because you don't want to make the other person seem weak. It's like we're protecting each other. So, you know, it makes a lot more sense for that to be like the support system for both of them to deal with Adam, instead of it being like, I'll deal with Adam all by myself, or you'll deal with Adam all by yourself. So at the very least, I get that. It's just, again, it was on my side that I felt like it didn't click with me initially. And like I said, the more I watched it, I was like, is this me, or you know what I mean? Or is this like a thing, or am I just, you know, am I missing something? But yeah, I mean, I just don't want them to kill Adam at this point. I don't want them to kill him. I think, like, at this point, like, he's gotten to the point where he's very interesting, and they did such a big reveal. Like, that mask reveal has been something that we've been teased about, that we've been looking forward to for years. And we've been asking what's under the mask, what's beneath the mask, you know, Persona reference. But, yeah, I turned off the donation alert really quick just so I can kind of, you know, explain, you know, and talk about this without being interrupted. I will read them. I'll read them right after I'll read them right after I finish. But yeah, I'm gonna obviously read what some of you guys are saying in the chat about it. She's fighting through her trauma. I think she's been preparing for this. That's fair. It's always hard to build up moments that all hit the box. Yeah, again, like I said, like I prefaced it, I was like, this might just be my expectations not being met, because like I said, I went into the episode, I prefaced it in the reaction as well. I was like, Blake, Yang, this has happened to Yang, this has happened to Yang, this has happened to Yang, all as a result of Adam. It seems like Yang is going to cross paths with him. I wonder how she's going to react. And it might also just be because I've been watching it over and over and over and over again, and I'm just like, there's still 2 more episodes left, and she's getting you know, she's still shaky in the moment, and I'm wondering if they're gonna set that up for anything next week, or I keep saying next week, in a couple of days. Does Arnold not like Josh? Shut up. God, does Arnold not like the episode? Come on, man. Let's see. Give me a second. Let's read the chat really quick. All right. Arnold hates the episode more than 11. Oh, God. No, I just had a few opinions that I wanted to share with people and kind of, at least, like, just, I guess, at the very least, spread them out and just discuss them instead of just condemning it for what I think it is or whatever. I definitely liked this fight. I liked the Blake and Yang. I'm sorry, I liked the Adam and Blake fight more because this felt very one-sided in Yang's favor, which again, I feel like Adam can run circles around either one of these characters. And I also felt like it was a little bit of a letdown that, like, he does, like, this super serious, like, charge-up move, and it's this massive blast, and then it's just 3-4 tiny scars on her arm, and I'm just like, I was like, that was kind of anticlimactic, but again, I don't know if there's still more to tell, and obviously her arm, state-of-the-art. If it's state-of-the-art Atlas tech, I expect it to save her ass more than once. But yeah. Yeah, Adam's move was so sick. Like, I love the visual effects that they gave him now. Like, his clothes, like the outline of his clothes, his hair, the black and red lightning effect, like that, like, looks so cool on him. And I love that they went with that aesthetic when it comes to, like, how he fights now and just using his semblance. I just thought that it was just a little, not out of character, but, like, Yang didn't use her semblance at all. So, like, is that, like, her ace in the hole to win against Adam now, is, like, using her semblance to beat him, since she, like, bodied him this entire time without using it once? And it's not like she beat him or anything. Like, they're at a standoff right now. They're very, like, evenly matched. Like, she's not completely beating him. He's not completely beating her. And it's like, even if they're getting hit, that's helping them. Because, like, Adam getting hit only powers his semblance, and Yang getting hit only powers her semblance. So it's like a risk and reward thing. Like, if you're hitting the other person, you're winning in the fight, but you're also giving them an opportunity to turn the tide because they have the opposite semblance of each other. The only difference is Yang's is through her body and Adam's is through his sword. So yeah. Like I said, I liked the fight for sure. She's more tired than Adam. I beg to differ. Adam just fought Blake Adam just got hit with a fucking... Adam fought Blake and took a ton of damage from her. Adam got hit by a freaking bike, and Adam's been fighting her this entire... Like, he's just done, like, 2 back-to-back fights, and he got, like, a cheap shot. He got hit, like, with a cheap shot, like, bike move. Machine gun punch by Yang is... Yo! Yes! I mentioned that earlier, Josh. The, like... Yeah, from BB Tag! I mentioned that, too. I was like, yeah, I was like, and I think in my reaction, I was like, I feel like I'm watching a BlazBlue match, because I rewatched, like, these fight clips at the end of the reaction. I was like, yo, I need to go back and watch that. So yeah, oh my god, that reminded me of BlazBlue, and I wouldn't be surprised if it was taken from that, because, you know, BlazBlue, like, has Yang with a bunch of new combos and shit, and it just looks so cool, man. It's such a great fight. Okay, let's see. I know Adam only absorbs punches and other stuff, but why did the last scene where Adam had a huge charge above his semblance, but barely moved Yang? I felt like they exaggerated a huge charge up front. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I felt like that was like, okay, I'm gonna end this right now. And then her face is just like, is that all you got, bro? And I'm just like, okay, it's one thing if you're trying to make Yang show that she's strong and she's grown, but don't, like, disrespect Adam, like, as if, like, Yang is really, like, on that level. You know? I don't know. I just feel like... I feel like in a way that's what it was, you know what I mean? Like, just showing, like, Yang's grown so much, like, look at... Like, we're gonna go the extra mile to show that she can even withstand his most fiercest attacks. I don't know. It definitely fell flat. It definitely fell flat. I was like, what the hell just happened? Like, they did that big charge-up move, and there was no payoff for that. It just, in the music and everything, and Blake's reaction, she's like, Yang! And then nothing came of it. I was just like, oh, okay. Sakurai, please nerf. But yeah, great fight overall. And obviously the big send-off for the chapter was that, you know, they gave him a choice, and I think Adam is in a very good predicament here. Hold on, I missed my super... Oh, I'm sorry. 1 second. Let me scroll back up really quick. There's actually a few I missed. Getsuka Tensho. Isn't that like a Bleach thing? I've never seen Bleach, but I've heard that so much. And I know a lot of people were comparing that, like Bankai and stuff like that. I don't know what any of that shit means, but I know it's One Piece related. And there's a lot of sword play in One Piece. I'm not One Piece, Bleach. Jesus. I'm like mixing up my shonen manga now, my shonen series. Arnold, my dude, you're definitely justified on the PTSD. The fight should have been more hectic, a hectic combination of fear and fury, shakes between combos. Like I said, I'm not willing to kind of just write it off now because we still have 2 chapters left. If they kill off Adam, I'll be really upset because that brand says a lot about Adam, says a lot about his past, makes me want to learn more, and I really hope they don't squander it for the sake of just not wanting to be able to, just being done with Adam, because it leaves so many open-ended questions, it just leaves so many unanswered questions, right? Like, again, like I said, why does he hate humanity so much? Why did he join the White Fang? Like, what was his life before he met Blake? Because he even said people hurt him long before they met, all sorts of people in all sorts of ways. So was he like a Schnee Dust Company property? You know what I mean? Like, is he branded like as Schnee Dust Company property? Was he part of those slave labor camps? I was talking about this with somebody, but if he did in fact originate as like a Faunus slave labor worker in Atlas, and he got branded as like, because, for disobedience or whatever, it would be very interesting. It would be very interesting from a story perspective if Blake and Yang beat Adam, they knock him unconscious, and then like they report, they turn him into like Atlas military, like on the at the base, right? If somehow Cordovan doesn't die and they pan things out, it would be really interesting if Blake and Yang are like, hey, here's the leader of the White Fang, this criminal. Cordovan already doesn't like Faunus, and then she realizes the brand on his face and is like, oh, this is Atlas Company property, or this is Schnee Dust Company property, and they strip him of his weapon, they strip him of his uniform, and like when he wakes up, he's back in the Faunus labor camp in Atlas. I think that would be really, really cool if they did that, because it's like, after everything you've done, you're back to square one. But I also think that would be a great, I think that would also be a great like way of triggering a flashback of Adams to see how it all began since he's back there. But again, I don't know if it's worth doing that. Like, is Adam worth that much investment to still keep around for the sake of his own little sub story, even though Blake and Yang have now dealt with him, but he's back in Atlas and everyone else is back in Atlas. And if he's back at Atlas and he's a lot stronger and he's a lot older now, it also gives him a chance to exact revenge on the people that did this to him, especially if Jacques had something to do with it. And then that coupled with Winter, coupled with Weiss, you know, and the brand on the face says a lot, because imagine how Adam feels if he even knows. But like, let's just say he does know. Imagine how Adam feels knowing that his partner Blake left him to then become a huntress and who eventually joined a team with the heiress, at the time the heiress of the Schnee Dust Company, from the kingdom of the people that did that to him. You know what I mean? Like, imagine like how he must feel about that, like an incredible amount of betrayal. And imagine how, you know, and it just seems a little odd that Blake, I mean, not really odd, but like, and the fact that Blake knew that happened to him from the Schnee Dust Company, and like, you know what I mean? Like that, she's known that this entire time and hasn't said anything. I don't know. I think there's more to Adam. There's a lot more to tell for him. And I don't want them to kill him off. If they attempt to kill him off, please let it at least be off screen, so that way we can have like the no body, no death rule, so we can at least have hope that there's more for Adam in the future. Like, pull a Cinder, you know, pull a Volume 5 into Chapter 2 of Volume 6 where, you know, people are like, oh, is she dead? And then she turns out she's alive. I just really want them to do that because I'm very fascinated with his character, and I like him a lot more. Like, that brand gave him so much depth, and it gave me, as a viewer, it gave me what I was lacking. I always liked Adam. I thought he was a cool fighter, but that was it. Like, he had no depth for me. So I didn't really have any justification for clinging to him as a character. But, like, after seeing the brand, I'm like, yo, I want to know so much more about you. And I you know, I can at least sympathize with him from the perspective of, like, that's a very inhumane and cruel thing to do to somebody, to brand them and to see them as like a legitimate animal and to have that as a reminder for them every time they look in the mirror. So, yeah, and then his eyes are blue too. I kind of like that contrast, considering how he has like a red and black color scheme. I was talking a little bit in my Discord server with a few people, and I can't, and like, I like talked to them about this crack theory of like, what if, there's a crack theory here, but what if, you know, like, Adam has blue eyes, Jacques has blue eyes. Wouldn't it be interesting if Jacques, despite being like a conglomerate, like a business tycoon and being someone who's very racist to the faunus and everything, wouldn't it be funny? Not funny, but wouldn't it be ironic if like he slept with like a faunus just for the sake of like, you know, he could, you know, just using them to like get off or whatever, and like that faunus later on had a child, and that child turned out to be Adam's, and then he like branded his own son because he's like, fuck that, if I'm gonna have a faunus as a son. It's basically like his bastard child, and he like branded him and everything and like tossed his ass to the side, and then he eventually goes on to marry, because like Adam looks a little bit old. I would say Adam's around the same age as Winter. So that would be pretty fucking crazy if Adam's like biggest vendetta is Jacques, and the, like, again, it kind of comes back to the Schnee Dust Company brand on his face. That would kind of also mean that like Weiss and Whitley and Winter are kind of half siblings with him, or to him, but I don't know, like the blue eyes, I'm just like, yo, blue eyes, like that song. But yeah, I thought that was a really great crack theory. Again, it's a crack theory because it's like, well, if the stars have to align for that to be the case, and I wonder what that would mean for everything else or everyone else. I don't know. I don't know. It's interesting. And again, it would make even more sense. Like, oh, my dad doesn't want to accept me. Well, guess what? I'm going to rob his dust trains. I'm going to make his life and his company's life miserable. But yeah. I do think that it's an interesting prospect. And again, it's a crack theory, so it's something that shouldn't be taken very seriously. Is Adam Akechi? Oh, come on, spoilers, yo, Akechi. Anyways, yeah, like I loved the episode. I liked it. Like I said, I think I expressed, at least to the best of my ability, my opinions of where I stood on the episode. Like I said, my biggest gripes came from fan reactions of the fandom's reactions to a lot of these overblown situations. Adam as a character, Bumblebee as a concept, as a thing. The biggest thing that I'm going to dislike about if Bumblebee comes true isn't Bumblebee itself, it's the I told you so's. It's the one side telling the other side, going through years of history, years of just back and forth bickering about, like, it's gonna happen, it's not gonna happen, this ship's gonna, Black Sun's gonna happen, Bumblebee isn't, or Bumblebee's gonna happen, Black Sun. The worst fucking thing I'm gonna hate is when it's confirmed, because that's when the I told you so's are gonna come from all corners of the community. That's the one thing that I'm just gonna be like, I'm just gonna I'm just gonna like tip my hat down, I'm gonna just keep my head down and not even focus. I'm gonna try to avoid any type of backlash on that. But yeah, I mean, but yeah, I don't know, because it's just the fans' reactions in general. Like, I remember when Aaron Zek came out and told people, like, oh, Bumblebee isn't a canon song. Like, the song Bumblebee from the Volume 4 soundtrack, that was a song that Jeff simply made. Nobody knew he was gonna make it. And she came out on Twitter and told people that, and people, like, fucking tore her ass apart, like, on social media. And, like, I felt so bad. And then she ended up just deleting the whole thread. And I was like, God fucking forbid this actually comes true. I can only imagine. And it's from both sides. It's like people who, like, I don't know. It's, I'm not blaming anybody, Chris. I'm just saying, like, those types of people are going to come out of the woodwork when it either happens or doesn't happen. That's the only thing I'm like again, the fandom's reaction to that is just going to boil over, and it's going to be something that we're just going to have to brace through it. It's not going to kill us. It'll only make us stronger, but it doesn't change the fact that it's going to be a shitty thing to go through. But yeah, long story short, or I mean, I guess, hold on, let me get through a couple of these. Oh shit, I came into the stream late. Did I watch this episode 5 times straight when I came here? Maybe, just maybe. What's up, Jacob? 0602? What's 0602? Is that like your birthday? Or is those just random numbers you have there? I can't tell. But if that is the case, that's interesting, because that would be June 2nd, and that's also my birthday. Or that's my birthday, so that's the first thing I thought of. I was like, June 2nd, that's my birthday. Anyways, yeah. Great chapter. I think the fight scenes were some of the best, if not the best, in the series, like, to date. They stand up very well with a lot of the early volume fights, for sure. And this is definitely the best fight of the series. What I'm wondering, though... Wait, hold on. Let me just write that down, Arnold. Oh, June 2nd, 1990. That's when I was born. Yeah, I know Aaron has a Bumblebee tattoo. I saw that. Let's see. Hopefully that fixed it. Did that fix it, guys? Are we good? Are we back? That's so... My computer just spiked out of nowhere. Oh my god, what happened? Hold on. Refresh. Actually, let me take off slow chat. The discussion is basically done. Discussion is basically over. There you go. You guys have freedom now. Alright. Just type refresh in the chat for anyone who hasn't refreshed yet. That was weird. Discord just disconnected me, and then it just came back out of nowhere. So hopefully it's hopefully everything's together. Okay. Oh, but yeah, I forgot what I was saying, but oh yeah, so like I think this is a great chapter. What I'm really curious about, what I'm hoping for or expecting now, is how are they going to set up for the finale? Because it's clear, like, they have the whole Cordovan fight, but they gotta set that, like, I don't know, like, and the reason why I'm thinking this is because the expectations of previous volumes have always been something to go off of, right? The volume, chapter 11 of volume 3, chapter 11 of volume 4, chapter 13 of volume 5, the penultimate chapters have always been just as big, if not bigger, than the finales, right? Yang getting her arm cut off, Amber dying, Cinder becoming the Fall Maiden, the setup for Ozpin versus Cinder, you know, like, all of that crazy shit, like seeing Velvet summon, like, Volume 3's penultimate chapter, like, was fucking nuts. Volume 4's, like, it set up for the Knuckle-V, like, which was, and then we got to see the Knuckle-V, like, its face at least, and that just was, like, terrifying in of itself, and also the Kuroyuri flashback, like, that set up a lot of, like, nightmare fuel and anticipation, because there were a lot of Renora death flags during that volume. Like, we were getting a lot of their backstories, and it felt like they were going to die, or it felt like Rooster Teeth was setting up for that to be the case. And then Volume 5's penultimate chapter was actually, I think, the biggest one, which was, that should have been, it felt like a finale, but that was like the Maiden versus Maiden. So, like, I'm expecting, I don't know if I should expect a lot from this chapter, because it seems very predictable. It seems like Cordovan's mech's gonna get taken down, a giant Grimm's gonna show up and attack the city, or something. Adam's gonna fight Blake and Yang. I'd be so pissed if that Grimm actually shows up and takes Adam of all people, just, you know, for the hell of it. But if it takes him, like, out into the sea, then no body, no death, because I can definitely see Adam, like, getting out of that shit and not, like, hell no, you're not gonna take me out that way. He's like, I'm not gonna go the way of Torchwick. But yeah, like, there's, and then, like, but then there's one more episode, and then on top of that, the runtime for the episode, like, how long are these last 2 episodes going to be? The finales are usually at least 20 minutes. They're at least always, I think, about 20 minutes, like actual, like, runtime, like, stuff in the episode, not, like, the intro and the credits. Oh boy, but yeah, then you have Cinder and Neo and Watts and Tyrion. Like, are they just gonna leave that for the next volume? Are we to just expect that they're gonna find their own way to Atlas? I at least expect Watts has a way, because he's a disgraced Atlesian scientist, so I expect he has people on the inside that can help him get there. He's also a tinkerer of sorts, so he might have his own form of transportation, like his own like ships or like drones that can like pick them up and like send them there. But yeah, I am just very excited. I'm also a little upset because obviously the volume's ending. This was a great, fantastic volume. I hope Ozpin comes back before the volume, please. Like, please. This man's been gone since the 2nd episode. And I'm just like, why? Like, I get it, but like really? Really? Technically he's been gone since the 4th episode, because that's when he dipped, but like, he was prominent in the first 2 episodes. Ozma, Ozpin, Potato. I'm calling him Ozpin. That's who he was introduced to me as, and that's what everyone calls him, despite everyone knowing that he's Ozma, they still call him Ozpin. I don't know, but I know that this chapter was great. I enjoyed it. Obviously I had my little gripes, but I feel like they're not really that outlandish. Like I said, I didn't really have any. I feel like a lot of people had the anticipation. Like, I remember I tweeted a vague tweet, but then people just ran with whatever they thought. They were like, I really hope Arnold doesn't complain about the shipping or whatever, or I hope it has nothing to do with, like, it's like, come on. The last thing I care about are ships. You really think I'm going to complain about this happening? Like, come on, bro. If it happens, it happens. If it happens, it'd be kind of cool to see how it develops as the show goes on. Or at the very least, like, you know, this doesn't necessarily confirm anything. You know what I mean? Like, it confirms, like, yeah, they're stronger together, but that doesn't mean they're together. But obviously it sets up for those expectations. I just hope those expectations don't bite Rooster Teeth in the ass if it does not happen. That's the only thing that I fear. But, you know, at the end of the day, I'm excited. I guess what you were going to talk about. I mean, you guessed 2 things. You were right on one of them. So, 50-50. Cut to Arnold cleaning off his poster of bum. Oh, come on. Until Volume 7, which they're going to show that at RTX, most likely. I don't know if they're going to show they're probably going to show... I don't know if they'll keep doing character shorts, because it's like... I mean, how many character shorts are you going to give people? Maybe it'll be an actual, like, trailer, or maybe it'll be, like, a little snippet of what to expect in the future. That'd be cool if you got, like, a Winter character short, if Winter's going to be relevant in Volume 6. I'm sorry, Volume 7. It would have to be someone who's going to be relevant in the next volume. Like, because that's the whole point of giving Adam this character short, and it kind of was a little relevant for Team RWBY's character shorts in Volume 5. But yeah, I mean... I don't know, Winter or Penny? Someone from Atlas. Winter, Penny, Watts. He's from Atlas. I don't know. One can only dream. I better see Winter next year. I am so upset that she was not at this military base, that they freaking gypped us for this Cordovan lady. It should have been like easy peasy. Like, hey, Winter is a very fan favorite. People haven't seen her in a few years. She fits the description for being, you know, a special operatives commanding officer, and then they jebaited us so bad. So at the very least, I hope that, I mean, it'd be kind of cool too if they make it to Atlas and the first person that they see, the person that greets them in Atlas is Winter, and then that's how the volume ends. God, I don't know. I don't know how the volume's gonna end. I don't even know if they're gonna make it to Atlas by the end of the like the last, even and then the post credit scene. Like, what's that gonna be? That's also a little fun thing. Like, I feel like last volumes didn't really have any significance, but Volume 4's and Volume 3's definitely did. But yeah, I don't know. At the end of the day, I definitely enjoyed this chapter. We have 2 chapters left. Chapter 12, which comes out in a couple of days for first members, and then Chapter 13 on the 26th. And then RWBY is done. Another year in the bag for reactions, live discussions. I started doing theories this volume, which I'm really proud of. I'm really proud of how those turned out. The AMV videos turned out great. I did a lot of shit posting in the early starts of the volume as well. I wanted to do theory. I wanted to do weekly reviews, but I just kind of had too much on my plate at that point. So I'm gonna shift the format that I had for those reviews on Genlock, and then depending on the reception of the format, I'll calibrate that for Volume 7 when that comes out next year, or at the end of this year most likely. But they're obviously going to show something at RTX that I'm going to be at RTX. I'm going to record my reactions there and everything, and, you know, report on everything that they talk about there when I get back. So there's going to be a lot to talk about, a lot to dive into. I hope the lingering thing that I hope, I just don't kill Adam. Please don't kill Adam. That's like the number one thing I don't want them to do. Like, if you want, that's fine. Have them beat his ass. Have him, like, I don't know, overstep his boundaries, and maybe he'll be the result of why he loses, but just don't kill him. Don't Sienna con him. Don't kill him and then give him a backstory. You know, like, I don't know. It just depends what they have in store for Adam. It just depends on what, like, the writers, like, do they intend to explore Adam in the same way that we want him to be explored, or do they just want him to just be this obstacle that's dealt with by Blake and Yang and then, you know, taken care of? Who knows? But yeah, again, just really... Oh, hold on a second. But yeah, just, again, really quick, just because I like Adam doesn't mean I advocate for what he does. I hate how I have to spell that out. But, yeah, I guess that's the discussion, guys. Obviously, the next discussion is going to be on Thursday. My reaction will be out Typical time, 12 o'clock Eastern time. I'm editing. I'm going to be editing and putting it together because I have to put a little insert at the beginning of the reaction. So I have to re-edit it and then it should be uploaded. For some reason, a lot of people didn't see the premiere that went live. There were like 200 people in the initial premiere that I did for the latest chapter that went out. I don't know if that was a YouTube bug or a glitch or something. But a lot of people didn't see it until after the premiere, and then and then it got uploaded for some weird reason. So I'm going to try to upload it tonight and then see if it shows up because it didn't show up on my timeline, like my upload timeline on YouTube. So I was like, okay, that's not good. And then I was asking people, oh, can you guys see it? And most people were like, no, I can't see it. So, hopefully that doesn't happen again, because I know like a lot of people have enjoyed the discussions and like the live chat feature of watching the episodes together. And this is like a really, 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 really good chapter and a very exciting one for me personally. So I definitely want as many people to be able to tune in and watch together as possible. Can you read his donation? I did. He mentioned earlier, he said, I know Adam's sword punches and stuff, but why did it last? But why the last scene was a huge charge up? Yeah, I responded to that. I basically said, like, yeah, I agreed. But yeah, I talked about that earlier, White Fries. I don't know if you saw it or not, or if you weren't paying attention. I don't know. Hey, Dashy! Here's money. Didn't want to interrupt the review. Also, thank you for being you. I appreciate it. Thank you for the 789. Thank you. Glad to have you in the discussion, too. I mean, you're on the tail end, but I appreciate it nonetheless. So yeah, again, really quick, the chapter, the finale is next Saturday. Next Saturday, you guys are getting 2 reaction videos. You guys are getting my RWBY Volume 6, Chapter 12 reaction, and you're getting my Episode 1 reaction to Genlock. So yeah, that's going to be very exciting, and next weekend is where all of you guys can watch a Genlock. It's going to be available to everybody to watch. First members and non-first members on the 26th on the Rooster Teeth website. So very excited for you guys to check it out. I am so stoked. I'm going to be recording my reactions to all of the trailers of Genlock. I haven't seen any of them. So again, like I said, I think they have 3 or 4 character shorts. They have a first look at Genlock, and then they just came out with a trailer today. So I've already seen the first episode. So it's only like, because I love the first episode so much, I think this is only going to enhance how I watch these trailers now, which is going to be very exciting. But yeah, but with all of that said, guys, thank you again so much for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed my rambles, enjoyed the discussion overall. I definitely appreciate the support overall. We have 2 more live discussions next Thursday and the Thursday after. And like I said, I'm going to be closing the book on RWBY. I'm going to be opening another book with Genlock and Kingdom Hearts 3. And then once those are wrapped up, it'll be back to RWBY. And maybe anime. Maybe. I don't know. I have to still kind of figure out how I'm going to do that. But with all of that said, guys, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Enjoy the videos that come out later this week from the channel. And I will see you guys in the next one. Take care.